cultural heritage. As we face one another era of culture, yes, we go demonstrate our bouillon taste. Dress up in your what do yet, dress up in your tet cassette, telling Kotoko Itori, people say Oko Shampoo are we. When we say Tim Timbasek, that means we give full respect to our culture heritage, regardless of color, creed or age. Ha! Boy. Hey, night. Epa. Look at Batabula to Boma. Look at Wule Tabula to Boma. Pakite music la champagne. Look at Batabula to Boma. Lang pang pang patang tang tang tang. Rang pang pang patang la tang tang. Yay. Yepa. Tim this one bell like what we in November. Is all of the things people looking for. London, States, Canada, people from all over will be here for the cultural gala. Well, I'm with the camera, from the place taking picture. Memories of crystal water to show to their friends and the neighbors. There's no other time like this, so this one you cannot miss. Put yourself in the action, come give full participation.
Oh yes, what a big time in Dominica, our independence celebration. And my good friend Brain, everybody those days rather call you Brain than call you Hatley. I mean, not too many people know you as Hatley.
That's okay. I mean, Brain, if anything happens to me, I can't put on my deaf announcement Hatley Adams. I have to say Hatley Brain Adams. Better known as the Brain, you know?
You know, Hatley, we are into the biggest season for me. Mm-hmm. Some other persons will say Carnival, some other persons will say Christmas. For me, I do not know for you, the biggest period of our year, which is independence period. A period where Dominica attained political independence from Britain after how many years under the British rule. We became an associated statehood in 1967, 1st of March, and that's under E.O. Libler, our first chief minister. No, our first premier. Mm-hmm. And our first chief minister was Baron.
Yeah, Mr. Frank
Baron.
Frank
only
Baron.
And only stayed for 1 year. And in 1960, Mr. Leblanc became the second chief minister. And on the 1st of March, we attained associated statehood, which meant that we were responsible for our administration and not our defense. The British were still responsible for our defense, so we're still under Britain. And then in 1978, on the 3rd of November, we became an independent state, but we became a republic immediately that night of celebrating our independence. And before that, we know that Dominica, we used to have what is called National Day. I'm sure that you and I, not the present generation today, would remember anything about National Day, but we would remember quite a lot of our National Day.
When we won the Queen of, obviously, we had our own way of celebrating that occasion. But having attained independence, having brought down the Union Jack and hoist our own national flag, we were now a republic, independent. And
you must tell people what the Union Jack is. Some person might not be aware of what the Union Jack is.
Well, the Union Jack is the British flag of
right, the British flag
of England.
The white, red, white,
and blue.
Yeah.
Red, white, and blue.
Red, white, and blue.
That's the Union Jack.
Yeah, right.
And so we brought down the Union Jack at 12 o'clock in the night, and we hoisted our new flag that was designed by Alwyn Bully.
It was amazing, to see when the two flags met side by side. One is going up, and one is going down.
Hoisted up.
and we became an independent state.
I was there on that night. When,
I too was there that night.
Princess Margaret,
the sister of Queen
Queen Elizabeth II, represented England.
And that night we had a number of ministers of government present. The opposition leader in the person of Dame Eugenia Charles. Well, she was then Eugenia Charles, opposition leader, and Patrick John was then the Prime Minister of Dominica. They both had to give their independent address. As a matter of fact, we'd never call it independent address. It was the first parliament. And the night, our first parliament actually was that night of the 3rd of November. And we have since then attained some 44 years of independence. We're now achieving that 44th year this year. But Brain, I want us to go back a bit and try to discuss and to make the general public have a better understanding of what culture was like, in our growing up. We would remember, I can remember in the 70s, the 3rd of November, which was National Day.
Yeah, but before we do that, we have to understand what influenced our culture. Dominica culture is mainly influenced by the Caribs, the French, the British, and the Africans who were brought over by the French for slavery.
I'm happy that you said the Carib, the Kalinago. Let's be politically correct. The
Kalinagos now.
Because every time we speak about Dominica culture, we speak of the French, we speak of the
British,
we speak of the European, we speak of the African, and we speak of Dominica. But in the Dominica, we never make mention of the Kalinagos.
Yes,
so that's a good point.
Yeah, the Kalinagos have influenced our culture. For instance, even in the things that we use, the calabash. That's a Kalinago culture. The basket that we carry around, the straw basket, the straw hat. All these originate from the Kalinagos.
Yes. So all now, so as during our celebration, we have on Fridays, Chapeau
pie.
Chapeau week, Chapeau pie.
Yes, Chapeau pie.
Yes, and so that's a great point that you have made. I know that we have been using our straw hats with our madras around it. So that's a good observation that you have made.
Because we that is came from the Kalinagos. And so we must never forget to mention them in shaping the culture of our country. Even the cassava.
Yes.
The farine. That is from the Kalinagos.
And the baskets that we would have seen,
Right.
That too, it has been originated from the
heavily
Kalinagos.
influenced by the Kalinagos.
Right. So that's
we must never forget them
that,
in the culture.
So when we are talking about the whole issue of our culture, we must always remember not just using the word Dominica, because when we use the word Dominica, we're just talking about the Bel Air and the mazouk and so on. We know the flirtation came from the French, the British. The flirtation, the Guanja when they had their own dances in those days, that they actually did the flirtation. And some of us tend to believe that the madras was really from the Africans.
But before you even go there, to go into the French influence, we must also remember that the capital, Roseau, got its name from the Kalinagos because of the grass.
Yes,
the Roseau grass that you find.
The reefs on the bank of the river.
Roseau,
Roseau. It was called
Roseau,
It's a French name.
French name, but originally this was because of the influence of the Kalinagos as well. So now let's go to the type of where the madras, the wapduet.
But before we go, because I want to go into that into the end, I want to talk about because it's something that I don't know if we have lost it. You have been a teacher. I want to talk about the whole celebration of National Day before independence. So we need to talk about some traditions that we had, and maybe we still have them today.
Well, basically, the way we celebrated that activity was from a educational point of view, was to have our refreshments during that period before independence. We look forward to, after we come out to drill in the gardens, that we would go to the school to have our bun, to have our juice.
Juice, but
a lime and squash.
Well, in my time it was juicy. Juicy
I had
factory was
squash
big
too.
time. I can't ever recall that we ever had
Well, I'm much
squash.
older than you.
Yeah, well, that's true.
So I had my squash, and my bun.
So I know in my time, when you come out and drill, and even those who did not drill, all right, that day everybody had to go back to school.
Go back
after
to your
drilling.
school, yes.
We would go back to school and we would be given our bun from Eric's Bakery and our juicy from the bottling plant in Kenfield.
Right.
I'm not so sure what was the name of.
Well, basically, juicy was being manufactured where you have now in the Potter's Village.
HHV, in my time, HHV Church was the juicy factory was there. So that's where juicy factory was. I think at that time it was manned by Mr. Shillingford,
Okay.
who went up for the Freedom Party in those days,
Okay.
as parliamentary representative for the St. Joseph area. Wilmoth Shillingford. I
Well, he
think.
managed that, but before that, I remember it was the father of Gregory Shillingford
Okay.
who managed the juicy factory. But that time when I knew it, it was in the Pottersville area. That is where you have H. Charles in that area there.
Oh, okay. All right.
Where you have the spare parts Norman Roll.
Okay, yes.
In what Norman Roll, where he has a spare parts department.
That's where Juicy
that was
Factory was.
Juicy Factory was.
Okay, I never. Well, as you said, you're older than I.
Yeah, I am older than you, so
right,
that's where, because my father was then the foreman of the packing shed, and so I would go across there to receive my juicy, because when they had the rejects, I would just go there and drink as much juicy as I could.
I'm trying to recall if I ever saw on that big wall this advertising sign marked Juicy in red as you enter in the Valley Engineering.
Look well.
Yeah,
Look
yeah.
well.
I think
you'll
it's
see.
still
You'll
there?
see.
It's still there?
You'll see some remnants of juicy.
Yes, I think so. But I never knew that. I'm only learning that for the very first time.
I used to be there.
But I know when I grew up that Juicy Factory was where the new building of HHV Church is in Kenfield, and every class would have gotten
Right.
how many crates of.
But that's where it was
of
originally.
juicy.
So I used to go there and have the white juicy. I don't think we call it cream soda, and that was my favorite, and my red juicy. So, and I used to go there because at the time, juicy used to put some, 25 cents, they printed inside.
On the crown.
On the crown.
Yes.
So you
could
open
win.
there, so you could win a 25 cents. So we'd go inside the drain there to look for, the bottle cocks, and then we'd open it to see if we win any money.
In my time, it was books and pencils.
Right. Well, in my time, they had money as well.
Right. in my
So
time,
you had
books and
your
pencils.
book and your pencil as well, your juicy pencil,
Right.
and your juicy book.
Right. So yes. So we were talking about that first part of it, where on drilling day, but prior to drilling day, we had to do a lot of practice.
Obviously.
To do the eyes right in particular. The Rosa Boys School was very popular with its eyes right in my time growing up. I did not drill for the Rosa Boys School, but I got my juicy because you have to drill at a certain class. So if you were not in first form and second form and third form, that you would not drill. I was in first form. I did find myself in the first form, but had to go to St. Mary's Academy right after that.
But you never drilled with your school.
I never drilled with the Rosa Boys School. My first drilling was with St. Mary's Academy.
Well, I drilled with the Rosa Senior Boys School, the Chateau.
Okay.
That's what we called it at the time. And so, but the best primary school when it came to drilling was the Rosa Boys School. Everybody looked forward to the Rosa Boys
In my
School.
time too, they looked forward
When they
for
came
it.
out.
And then later on, in the drilling section, people looked for the St. Mary's Academy in my time in the late 70s.
Well,
into
in
the
my
early
time,
80s.
people look for the Dominica Grammar School, Cadet Corps,
Okay.
because the grammar school had its own Cadet Corps. It was not the different high schools having branches of the Cadet Corps. So the Dominica Grammar School had the Cadet Corps, and this was led by Captain, his name is not coming to mind, Arthur James. Captain Arthur James led the Cadet Corps with Lieutenant Walker,
By the time
Errol Walker.
By the time I arrived in St. Mary's Academy, I can't recall if there was a cadet corps.
No, you all had no Cadet
Yeah,
Corps.
I can't remember that.
You all had no Cadet Corps. Your
because-
Cadet Corps was elite.
Yes.
But the grammar school had its Cadet Corps long before. And so you had Julian Johnson being there. You had those guys there, who, was very outstanding. Dr. Moise.
Yes.
I remember them in the Cadet Corps. They were very, very, very outstanding.
And then you find after the drilling, every school would be there, applauding,
Supporting each other.
supporting their school.
Yes.
Their school. At that time, it was at the Botanic Gardens.
Botanic Gardens.
I remember more to the southern side of the Botanic Garden.
That's
the
right.
cricket playing field. And you would salute the then governor.
But I did not like the way it was being done in terms of the amount of hours you'd have to spend listening to the minister.
7:30.
Mr.
And you had Mr. Henkel Christian in my time.
Well, I had W.S. Stevens.
Oh my God.
And when he started speaking, that was the time when quite a number of students would faint.
Yes.
Because
in our time too.
You could not go to, but right now in the Windsor Park, you can go and sit down until they're ready for the march pass. But in my time,
You had to stand.
you had to stand
You had to stand.
until you finished marching. So
Right.
all speeches, you were there standing probably from a particular time until
You have
the
to be.
event.
You have to be at the park at school for 7:30.
Yes.
And we drilling up to the Botanic Gardens, if you remember.
You have to march to
You have to
yes.
march to the Botanic
Yes.
Gardens, and then you would have coordinators or marshals who would give you your school area.
Yeah, where you would have to stay.
Where you have
Your
to stay.
designated area. It was
Yes.
mapped
Yes.
out.
And I find the girls were given advantage over the boys.
In your time.
The convent high school would have always been somewhere at the front.
And during that time, you did not have any contingent. Right now, you have a group of 40 students.
Yes. Yeah.
The entire grammar school marched.
That's correct.
From first form right up to sixth form.
Yeah.
Right now, they select a group of students.
Less than
and
40?
Less than maybe 35.
Yes.
A contingent. But the entire school had
Yes,
to be
they had to
there.
drill. Well, not the entire school in my time.
In my time.
They would maybe have about 3 or 4 platoons, and of maybe about 40, and we would drill as we said, saluting to the governor.
Right.
After the minister of education would speak, and a few displays here and there. But they were very long hours.
Very long hours.
But it was great period for us. It was a great time for us. We felt as children that we were going to exhibit.
You because you've been practicing for weeks.
For weeks.
You would not just go to the gardens to just drill. You had to do your practicing.
As soon as October opens, you have to start training.
Or you have to start going to the gardens or the Windsor Park to fine tune your drilling skills.
And left, right. And then when you say right turn.
Right. And each school had its flag.
Yes, each school had in my time each school had its
It
flag.
wasn't I did
Well,
not
in St. Mary's
remember
Academy, we had our house. We were carrying
your banners.
We had our flag, and we had our 4 houses at the front.
with your banners.
Yes, before
We had our flag.
yeah, and it was a proud moment also for the school, especially the principal of the school at the time, Brother Jumin, who was taking the pride of really training us how to march. You'd swear that Brother Jimmy was a military guy.
Well, he marched with your school. He
Yes,
marched with the school. Right? He was one of the few principals I remember actually marching with his students. Because I never remember the principal of the Dominica Grammar School marching with us. We marched with our head boys.
And then, when all is over, the at the time it was a boys' school. Even if we were not marching, but we would have to be present with our uniform because you have to go back to school
for your
goodies,
for your goodies,
for your bun and your juicy.
That's right.
And then our teacher, each teacher had to be at the park at the Botanic Gardens. Each teacher.
Okay.
So the entire school. I'm sure that you remember that yourself.
Yeah, I remember that quite well.
They would have to be at the park and then march us back to the school where
for
we get
your
refreshment and then go home. It was an amazing period.
But I also, prior to that, Cecil, I represented my school in running when I was at the primary school. My favorite one was the two-legged race. Did you ever do the two-legged race? Do you know what that is?
No, I in the bag?
No, man. We tie our legs together.
All together, yes. Not in the back.
Right?
Yes.
If it's your right leg.
One right leg and one left leg.
And you run.
Right.
Right? I also did the lime and spoon. Did you ever do that?
No.
You had to run with a lime in a spoon and it must not fall.
Well, in my time...
So you see the traditional...
in my time, I am not so sure what we did for National Day in terms of Rosa Boys School having to compete.
We competed, man.
I can't recall that because I never did represent the Rosa Boys School, but I know in St. Mary's Academy, I did represent the St. Mary's Academy every year at the independence level, at the school level, high school level, in 100, 200, and 100, 200 relay. I did the relay. And I tried a long jump one time, and I find I wasn't good at that. I left that in peace.
Well, I did the 100 meters, the 200 meters, the long jump, the high jump, throwing the cricket ball. And I never tried pole vault. But I must tell you, at the time I went to the grammar school, I was one of the fastest runners there. And we had fellas who were very quick. We had Scobie
and Lawrence.
We had Bull, his brother.
Scobie Lawrence and Bull Lawrence.
We had Shillingford, Herbie Shillingford. We had some great runners in the 100 meters. You had to be extremely fast.
I have not seen anything like a runner in you.
Well, at the time, I was one of the fastest runners in my area because I trained almost every day on the savannah, the 100 meters and the 200 meters. That was my forte.
No. So after all of this is said, let us talk a little bit about the culture in that time. Mr. Leblanc, who was then premier of Dominica, at the time we know of Vickers, Paybush, Portsmouth. We know quite a lot of the communities in the northeast of the country were very much involved in the culture.
That's right.
And Mr. Leblanc, who wanted to take the culture away from the country and bring it into the city, we would remember that in the Botanic Gardens, they built this stage. It's wrong, or I should say wrong, or should I say octagon shape stage where the cricket pitch is. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember that quite well.
You remember the builders?
No, I don't know who built it.
Well, I know Stowstay, and who was from Pottersfield, Stowstay Lander, and my adopted father, Philip Mann. And there was another guy called Veves. Those guys were builders of that stage. Every year they build, and when they dismount, they would put it in a particular place for storage for the following year. And I clearly remember the madras and all of this belly clothes, been won, and all of these belly dances and flirtation and heel and toe, they were popular things in the outskirts of Roseau. Very, very, very popular. And the people of Roseau did not appreciate it. I don't know if you remember that in that early period.
I know, for instance, the people of Roseau appreciated the ballet because the ballet was being danced during the carnival time by a woman called Titine and Bichi. And so
Bichi is the mother of Stousley.
Stousley's mother. Yeah. And people on carnival time go to look at this women dance. And it was quite exciting for them. They themselves would participate in. Those who felt that they wanted to join in could join in. And so people started to appreciate the dance, the ballet, and then came the quadrille.
But I know, I remember, as I said, a lot of the people that were participating in the culture, in the arts, were a lot of people from the outskirts, from Grand Bay, Soufriere, Petite Savanne, Point Michel. Point Michel was very popular in those days. Viecas, Portsmouth, Paybush. Paybush has always been involved in singing and dance. Calibishi. So these communities around Dominica, every time the National Day comes, they were excited to really exhibit their talent and what they had to bring to the fore. Yes, you see people from Roseau going to witness, but from my recollection, the people who lived in Roseau who were going to witness this were not necessarily people who are from Roseau. So you find people who are from the outskirts of Roseau or who lived in Roseau from the country would actually appreciate it. I remember also too, I'll come back to that because someone's on the telephone. Let's see what that person has to say. Good evening to you, caller. You're live.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening, Vado.
Good evening, Mr. Adams.
Good evening, my dear.
How are you?
Oh, in tremendous form, my girl.
I know. I can hear that in your voice. Let me tell you, I remembered when the juicy factory was by Bear Valley Engineering is there, packing shed. I remember the sign, like as if the guy drawing, like the guy have his tongue outside, like a big face.
That's right.
Right, drinking that. I remember that as a young girl. That's why I knew Juicy Factory first. Okay, let me tell you, I just started really liking our culture and whatever when Lorraine Bannis was the Minister of Culture and then Justina Johnson. So, like before, I just used to, okay, it's National Day, it's Independence, and that's it. I didn't think that with schools now, I know the whole school would go and drill, would match. Okay, the whole St. Martin School, and make sure we win in. We are the best. St. Martin School. You hearing me?
Yeah, I remember St. Martin School.
St. Martin School
was being well led by Sister Bodger.
Right, and Sister Anne.
And Sister Anne.
My time was Sister Anne. I didn't meet Sister Bodger. I met Sister Anne. Okay? And when we would march to the botanical gardens, when we come back, we get our shakari and the pace. Remember that piece?
I remember the piece.
At St. Martin School, we look forward to that. It's a juicy at that time, for sure, at the beginning. And then, because it was so many children, the children used to faint because the speeches were so long. And you have the whole school, different schools, we all pull up the botanical gardens. And why were they doing us that? That we children in them, and we there from 8 o'clock until maybe 12 past 12 o'clock, and we fainting like flies, man. That was unfair to us, And now they make it, now we have the stands, we have things smaller, you put them in smaller things. But at the time, was by class and St. Martin's School we go, and we have no reason. We have to give a reason why we were absent. And whatever, and like I think it was compulsory that you there and you fainting, man, just to go there and faint. Boy, those white nuns there was wicked, you know.
No. I don't think it's the white nuns. I think
It was custom.
It's gone.
Yeah, it was.
It's not the white nuns, you know. It was for every school.
It was an education policy.
So it was a policy of the
Ministry of Education
Yes.
that all
So
students.
I don't think it is a fair assessment.
When she experienced that herself, where you have to stand up there for hours, standing in the sun.
Every school, eh?
Every
not
school,
just St. Martin's
and
School.
all their classes are out there in the hot sun, and you cannot leave as such to go and say you're going to take a shit and come back.
And not like we had bottled water like we now have.
Right. So you had to take the full brunt of the sun. And so the policy was that you stay there. And one of the things that I always used to dread is when W.S. Stevens take the stand. And one of his predecessors, H.L. Christian,
Was no different.
That would have to be an hour long. So you're in that sun just listening to this guy speak on that, and you're there in the sun. You all you want to do is get out of the sun. You're praying for him to finish. You just get out of the sun. So
and
most of what he was saying, you never really understood.
And watch that, you know. So different times, and if you would have asked any student, no matter how intelligent you were at the time, what did the Minister of Education just said?
Man, you're not interested. You telling yourself. I used to tell myself, Sami Sika Pali Utan Kosano in Creole in my mind. I say man, say Lempo Christian fini Pisaman or W.S. Stevens finish with that man, because more he made points, more he's going on. He is on a high. You know, so
at that time you had a lot of parents coming to those activities or events, and when the minister makes that point, they applaud. So the minister thinks, okay, I have to continue.
No, he gets venom for more. You know, so I know we dreaded these times, and so in my time, the Ministry of Education decided to change the policy in not allowing the entire school to participate, but contingents.
Let's take another caller quickly. Good evening to you, caller.
Yeah, hi, the brain.
Good evening.
This is Dr. Liquent here.
Hey, Doctor, my schoolmate, Dr. Liquent.
You mentioned something which I think we took you correct, because you couldn't have been running 100 meters, because
100 yards.
Grammar school,
100 yards.
yards.
Yeah, I know you. 100 yards. Yes.
Do you remember exactly when we changed from? Because of course Britain has never gone metric. Do you remember exactly when we changed from the yards to meters in our races?
I never quite remembered, but I knew there was a big thrust by the Ministry of Education to move from the old imperial.
It must have been after 78.
From the imperial measurement to the metrics.
Because when I ran in 78, 78, 79, 78. It was meters.
Okay.
They were already using meters.
When I ran in 60.
That's it, caller?
67, 68, it was in yards. Okay. 100 yards.
Right. So 10 years later, we would have gone into.
Because a meter is 1.2 yards.
1.2
a meter
yards
is longer than a yard. So basically, he's correct. Dr. Liquent is correct. I ran in the 100 yards, not the 100 meters.
That made you slower than me, eh?
Eh?
Because I would have to run.
I was very quick.
I run further than you.
And one of your quickest runners at the time was Olwing Laronde and Kokoshu. The SMA, one of the fastest runner was the Calypsonian, not Calypsonian, Sylvester Sones. Yeah, Ketterer was one of the fastest runner, and also Emmanuel Loblack and Olwing Laronde. So I remember those guys very well, representing the academy.
So we were talking about the actual day, which was the National Day, where you will find that people come and give court. People do mouth organ, dancing of the hill and toe, the Bel Air. Granby was very popular for the Bel Air. Bel Air Piche and
Belle Sauté.
Bel Air Sauté. You had flirtation, you had the mazouk, you had all the various
Hill and toe, polka.
Yes, you had all the various dances on that 3rd of November.
Right.
What was for me an exciting moment was there was a draw where during the year that people would buy tickets for $5, and the winner would have won $5,000. I don't know if you remember that.
I remember.
If
I
you
remember.
remember, give us a little.
Well, basically, people bought their raffle tickets, and all the tickets were placed in a barrel, and the barrel was, they turn the barrel, and then someone is called upon to put their hand in the barrel and pick a number. And the person whose ticket came up, the number was called, and the person won the $5,000.
Won $5,000.
So,
And most times, the name would be out of tongue.
most of the time,
Most
in
of the
country.
time,
So people look forward to the occasion, not only for the cultural activities, but for the draw of the national lottery.
Now we have what is called cultural gala, but I don't think we call it cultural gala at the time. It was an exhibition of all the cultures.
All the cultures, yes.
But I don't know. I can't recall the name.
But remember, Cecil, during that time as well, you had also your bamboo flute.
Yes, I forget the bamboo flute.
The bamboo flute.
So you had
your
bamboo
mouth
flute.
organ.
Yeah, you had the mouth organ, you had the bamboo flute, Like we just saw yesterday in the actual opening of Independence, the accordion was a very popular instrument
At the time.
by the elderlies of by the people of the country area, as we normally used to say country area. So every community would have had someone playing the accordion, especially during Christmas time.
Oh yes,
The accordion was a very popular instrument being used because people could not afford to buy the
organ.
or the organs,
or the piano.
So the ordinary man
had
to get himself the accordion.
Of course.
So
Did you ever play it?
No, I never played.
I played it. I played it.
I touched it several times, but
I played it.
That was like gold to many
many
people.
Louis Lestrade had one, and I played that instrument. It's a very interesting instrument to play.
Yes, it is.
And we are running out of persons who can play the instrument.
I saw yesterday, and congratulations to the acting chief cultural officer, who was able to get the groups, the bands, the Buyo bands, to get themselves involved in playing the accordion. So yesterday I saw that. So I'm sure that the accordion is going to be alive again.
Well, basically, what I noticed that bands are doing, they use technology when they're playing that instrument. They have the organ or whatever the instrument is, and they program it to play that instrument.
But there's still a number of people who actually playing the instrument.
Okay, well, they must be. I'm not seeing many of them on the island.
And so even during that time, you see a lot of boom boom.
Boom boom.
You remember the boom boom?
Oh yes.
Right.
The shack.
The bamboo. You're using the bamboo to making that hole, and you're blowing it. No, I see people using the pipe, the
PVC pipes. Yes.
Yeah, but in my time they use quite a lot of the bamboo.
Bamboo, yes.
To give you that good sound.
Oh, the buffalo. They use the buffalo and the script inside of it, and they had it.
Yes.
So it was really an instrument that you had to play when you're playing the quadrille.
And also to the bamboo flute. You remember the bamboo flute?
Oh yes.
Yes,
I
the
remember
bamboo flute. That bamboo flute used to give you nice songs like Yellow Girl, High in a Banana Tree,
Yes.
And you see guys
blowing that
guys used to actually practice or learn to play the bamboo flute by playing Yellow Girl.
Right. Yeah. I remember a guy serenading a woman. Long ago, the tradition was something else, If you wanted to win a girl's heart, you'd probably come with your instrument under her window with your bamboo flute, playing the pipe of Hamlet, blowing a tune to try to impress her about your prowess in instruments. So that was very, very much traditional. Right now, a fella just tell a girl, I want to love you. It wasn't so before. You had to really serenade her, either in music or in speech.
Wow. I wasn't in that time.
No, man, you wasn't in that time. You lost that culture.
I would have been a musician.
Yeah, because
I would have been a musician.
Because you cannot come to a girl's home without having a certain instrument to play, or to sing, or to write a beautiful letter, or to recite a poem, to impress the parents before you can begin even to venture to sit on the step of that.
So you're telling me in my time it was easy then?
Well, your time now is easier. Oh my God! The time to get a woman, man, you have to go through several steps.
No, talking about the traditional instruments, brain, the banjo. I mean, guys in Roseau used to be in their band and they used to have the guitar.
Yes.
All right. So the country guys used to actually do their banjo.
They had their banjo.
Play their banjo.
And not only
giving a good song there.
Right. Not only their banjo, their violin too.
And the violin. Yeah. We saw quite a lot of the banjos in those days, And you had the belly drums. You remember the belly drums? There's the thin one, the long one.
The long one.
And the one of the big.
And the short one.
Short one, but it's more for a little bit wider.
Right.
Giving you different songs.
Well, my brother, Ras Algie, had several drums. And some of them were short, like, as you said, the traditional drums. And some of them long.
Yes.
Because they give you a different sound when you play them or you beat them.
No. What I'm not seeing much those days is the clavis. You remember the clavis? That the thing that you're using to make the noise, pong pong.
Oh, I call it.
I think I as a boy growing up, I knew it as a clavis.
There's another name. It's not coming to mind. But you have a steel band stick hitting it. Bing, bing, bing. And that instrument was very popular as well in my time. But I do not see it anymore.
And I'm saying all of this to tell people during National Day, we would see from various communities, this traditional instrument actually playing to entertain people.
And do not forget your conch shell.
We're coming down the line.
Don't forget your conch shell.
And then we had the gouache. I mean, boy, the gouache was... The gouache was, for me, what was really making the song.
I think they put beads in it.
Beads, yeah. We used to call the beads... What used to call the beads?
Jumbie beads.
Jumbie beads. Red and black.
Black.
And Muzi was a very good guy building.
Right, Muzi on River Street.
Yes, used to build the
gouache.
Gouache. And that, for me, in my time growing up, I used to love watching the guys. I used to love watching the guys doing this. Because for me, it had to be some kind of, how you call that? Trying to get the word.
You had to have timing.
Timing. That's the word I'm looking for. Timing. Sequence.
And sequence.
Yes.
So you have to know when to come in. You have to know when to come in. You have to know when to come in.
Somebody wants to talk to us. Let's see what the person has to say. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Oh, the xylophone was the name of the instrument I was with. The xylophone, yes.
Yes. Go ahead, caller.
Yes. Yeah, let me tell you. Can you guys recall the first cultural group that was sent to represent Dominica in Guyana? And it was done, and that group, the first cultural group to go to was sent by E.O. Libla in the earth.
Is that group from Granby?
Huh?
Is that group from Granby?
No, it was different, a lot of different groups.
I can't remember. That for sure I would name. That must be the early 70s.
To Ghana, they went to Carifesta.
I'll tell you one thing. When you talk about Belly, earlier on I already mentioned Belly. The entire Belly group was basically two families from Maui that left and went to Guyana with a group of other people. I think they had folk groups and other things. But the Belly group itself was basically two families from Maui.
All
the
right.
Roberts and the Benjamin. Okay, the Roberts was like one fella, he had 1 foot, we used to call him Belly. And that man used to beat the drum. Let me tell you, in the beginning, in the 60s, Mao was prime in Belly.
So what happened to all you now? I not even hearing. When I was principal in Maho, I never hear Belly.
No, I tell you never hear because the young people, the last set of people that dance Belly in Maho, look, one of them just died the other day. That girl, Orin, that who just died. But that family there, the husband and wife, Ofaril and his wife, Selu, and then their children come. You see the panel blue in the control? Yeah, that's his family, the whole of their family over there.
He's from that. He's from that family.
Yes, he's from that family. And they represented Dominica when E.O. LeBlanc trained the first cultural group from Dominica to Guyana.
Ghana. I think it was to Carrie Festa.
Yeah, you can research that. Some people would have more information to give you exactly other companies.
Thank you.
But why I remember it so good is because of the ballet group that was from my home.
Thank you, caller.
That's good information, caller.
Okay, you're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But Cecil, you ever, whilst you're talking on the different instrument, have you ever beaten the belly drum? The drum? Have you ever attempted to dance belly?
Boy, let me give you the best joke. My mom, I'm sure she's listening. Good evening to you, mom. She used to love belly. She used to love dancing belly. She can dance belly. And I remember as a boy growing up in Fields Lane, that during that same period, Independence time, she tried to show us something.
Some steps.
That was too hard, you know. I think you have to push your leg forward, your toes on it, and your knee below. I mean, that was too much
I
action.
learned to dance ballet, and you know who my tutor was? Adriana Henderson, when I was at the teacher's college.
But that's your old man then.
Yes, and I danced also the quadrille with Dorothy.
The quadrille is easier to dance.
Yeah, and the ballet. You know, because she's an expert in both fields of dancing. So that's where I got my first chance as an old man to dance the traditional dance, the ballet and the quadrille. But they're very interesting. You have to be fit,
Yes.
with the ballet.
Oh yes, you have to be fit.
Ballet
especially this ballet sauté. I mean, I saw a young group yesterday from Grand Bay. I mean, compliments. I must compliment the guy, the guy and the young girl, for the kind of presentation that they made to the public. But I was even happier when I saw Carlton Henry, who really gave us a good display of ballet sauté yesterday. It was really to the max.
To the max,
you know, and I can imagine, you know, the amount of practice that you have to.
Oh yes.
You have to make to get that energy.
The energy,
you know, and the stamina.
And the stamina, not only to keep in tune with because you and the drum have to be harmonized. You just don't dance how you want. It has to be in harmony.
So we're saying all of this to just to tell the public, you know, Dominica has always been integral into the culture. We have always stood up among many other Caribbean countries with the culture. And so we saw the mouth organ. Mouth organ, my father played mouth organ. Hayden Joseph played mouth organ.
Okay.
I saw him.
I heard him at the parking shed. He was very good.
He was very good at the mouth organ. He took part in one or two competitions. So yes, the mouth organ, we still have two guys from, I think they're brothers, they're both challengers, Sawil and Damas.
They still play the instrument.
They played it yesterday and it was amazing. The clarity in sound and the chords that you would have heard, I mean, using your mouth, I mean, those guys are tremendous. And I can imagine when there were so many different mouth organs. And I think before these guys go beyond to the next life, that I hope that they can train other young men and women playing the mouth organ. Let's go back to the telephone. Good evening to your caller.
Yes, Cecil, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Excuse me. My voice is not very strong. You all have such an interesting discussion tonight that takes me back to my childhood. I don't know whether you heard of Orion from Grand Bay.
Yes,
Oh, yes.
I know.
Orion.
Oh, yes.
The
mother
mother
of ballet.
ballet.
She trained Adriana Henderson, yes.
Oh, my goodness. When I was a child, we used to have Fed Baker in Tetmon, and she would come up by a shop. And for some reason, I don't know how I used to I was very young. And I just used to take in the sound of the drum. This woman would play that drum. It's something spiritual about our music, you know. Up till this day, I remember her, you know, beating that drum Oh my gosh. We have such history at home, Cecil.
And that is why right
I am-
now I'm trying to evoke it for the young people to know
Yes.
that we worked hard to ensure that we preserve it.
But you are talking about, she made mention of spiritual. The drums in Africa is spiritual. When you beat the
Yes,
drums,
we
you go
are-
into a trance. The drum can get you
You
into
know-
a trance and you start doing things that you would never imagine as a normal person you would do, because the drums, it said, is a spirit that takes over your entire being. So she's quite
That
right.
is the difference. That's the difference between spirituality and religion. We had spirituality, and we have to get back to that. So, we can reawaken that African spirit again in us because, it's there, but, it's like it's subdued. And we get that from our music. We are so talented. We don't go to any university to play. My father could play the accordion. Not the accordion, the one we in the mouth. How you call
Mouth
it?
organ.
More for good.
The mouth organ.
Organ. He could play the guitar. His brothers played the guitar, and they did not go to school. It's just in us. It's natural. I am so elated because it brings back a lot of memory to me. And can I also say one thing before I leave?
Yes, go ahead.
Go ahead, my dear.
I was listening to this sister, Yvonne Alexander, last night on and she was talking about all what she went through. I knew her at Wesley High School. She's older than me, but I did not know of all her travel. And you all were talking about the houses at the high schools. I remember we had 3 houses at Wesley High School. I was in the Barrett house. So this is bringing back a lot of memories to me, and I'm so happy to be hearing you all talking about that tonight. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Thank you
Good
very
night,
much.
I mean.
Thank you.
But before you go, and she mentioned,
You're there, caller? Oh, she's gone. Yes.
right, you mentioned about the drum. She mentioned about the drums. African tradition, when my brother went to the Cameroons with Alex Bruno, because of his prowess in drums in Africa, beating of the drums, you're highly respected when you're a drum player in Africa, because they see you as going back to into the ancestral past. So it does evoke a level of spiritualism, not religion, but spiritualism. When you beat that drum, you can find yourself actually swaying to the drum. That is why on Carnival Day, I myself always like the Lakou Kabwit. Because when the Lakou Kabwit comes out in the morning time, Cecil, whether you want to dance or not, you'll find yourself tapping to the drums, the beating of the drums, and you want to get involved in that jump up session with the drums.
Oh yes. I mean, in any place, like for instance, last night at the almost at the climax of the celebration of the opening, the Lakou Kabwits, from the time the drum hit, bow, the Maho Lakou Kabwit, everybody was in frenzy.
Right, the music.
That tells you how much,
The impact of that drum on your spiritual being.
And so we were talking about those instruments, and we must not forget the shak shak. The shak shak too plays the integral role in our traditional music. We can see that it's a precaution. It's really it really helps in binding the
rhythm,
the music and keeping the rhythm alive.
Synchronizing the music.
And the tak tak. The tak tak is these 2 little woods.
Yeah.
That you use, the wood that you use to beat on the bamboo to give you the song. I mean, it's amazing, and all of these things, it's either the Africanist in us, and even us as a people in the good old days, wanting to create our own music, that we did our own things. So the flute and the banjo and the shak shak, all these things were really of great importance to us during National Day.
But this is the problem I have. And I tried when I was in the Ministry of Education, when I was principal, I always enjoy getting the boys to sing, to have choirs at schools and to get them involved in our music. That is one of the areas we need to work on, because basically, if we do not inculcate that type of music into our young people, we'll lose it. I heard your guest, Shelley, talking about a special rhythm with the bouillon. But you cannot evolve bouillon if you do not experiment with the musical instruments that you have within your tradition. And that tradition and experimentation must begin at the school level.
Let's go back to the telephone. Good evening to you, caller.
Good night, Cecil.
Yes, good evening to you, sir.
Good night, Brent.
Good evening.
Yes, Cecil.
Yes, sir.
Just a little correction.
Go ahead.
You said percussion. The word is not percussion. The word is percussion.
Percussion.
Thanks for the correction.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Percussion, yes.
Thank you very much.
Yes,
Not
percussion.
percussion.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yeah.
Well,
So
percussion.
you see, when you listen, you have
Yeah.
listeners. They can correct you.
And those things happen sometimes.
Right, and that's the
Percussion.
whole. That's the whole
Yeah.
basis of education. You know, some people, when you pronounce a word,
Yeah.
badly,
Yes.
they take you to task.
Yes.
But you see, the whole process is education,
Yes.
and you must
It's
be,
PUR.
and you have to take correction.
You're the caller?
Thank you for correcting.
Thank you for the information.
For the information given.
I mean, thank you very much. It's
Yeah,
percussion.
Percussion.
How
Right.
did
He's
I
a
say-
musical. The guy who called is a musical
how
man.
did I say-
He comes from a musical
I said
family.
What did I say?
We said percussion.
Precaution
but yeah.
This is take precaution.
Take precaution. But
We can laugh that now.
He called.
Yeah,
He
it's
comes from the guy who
percussion.
called.
Yes,
He
percussion.
comes from musical
Yeah.
family, but
And-
he's correct.
And so the and we had the tabal for the
With the goat skin,
you have the goat skin
when you have it on the side,
yes, and you hit it hard, nice,
especially
in a nice song.
That instrument you use during the time of quadrille.
Yes. Good evening to you, caller.
Hello, good evening.
Hello.
Yeah.
You want to call us back because
Your
bad
line is
song,
bad.
bad song.
Yeah, bad,
Okay,
yeah.
call us back, please. Call. I'm sorry about that. So I'm saying all of this to say that in the early days, in my time growing up in the 70s, that I witnessed all of those communities, and it was not a mistake. Why every community in Dominica had a band that was actually playing kadas. So you had a group in Portsmouth, you had a group called Survivors in Vegas. Pastor BJ, he was the lead singer of that group. That former police officer, Seaman himself, we call him Plashy. He was a member of that group. And you had a group from Marigot, you had from Roseau, you had from Goodwill, you had in Grand Bay, you had in Point Michel. As a matter of fact, one of the groups in Point Michel, some of us may not remember or may not know that they too back up calypsos, even when swinging stars had problems in backing up calypsos in 68, 69.
But before you go, before I appreciate that, Cecil, but remember, the persons in the country, that was their modality of music, So if you go to a dance, if you went to a dance in the country, these are the instruments, that's being played for you to dance, right? So the people in the country grew up with that tradition, where they were going to their dances with these instruments being played at a dance or during their dances, and you had to be able to dance.
Someone's on the line. Let's listen to that. Good evening to you, caller.
Yes, Cecil, very good program.
Thank you.
But I want to touch something because I noticed that you were mentioning something on the Southeast. When it comes to culture, I think the Southeast played a very good part in doing the culture up, because I can remember when the French had the dance, then in the East had to change this kind of culture, because I remember in Grand was always at the competition and always was winning first. So I want to mention that people like Isaac Ewa from Monjon and people like Mr. Bruman on the court business and so on.
Mr. Bruman.
These people played a very heavy role in winning the court to Dominicans and so on. And these people were always first winner and so forth. So there was a big competition in the culture and so on. And as you said, it's the country people that really came down to Roseau and make culture look as as it is, because quadrille, I remember the quadrille, even from the Bel too. A lot of the Bel came from the countryside and so on. But anyway, good program.
Thank you very much, caller.
Thank you very much.
Let's go back to another caller. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening, caller. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening, caller.
Hello.
Yeah, you're live.
Is that Mao, Sweeties and Home?
No, ma'am, I'm sorry. That's DBS Radio. Sorry.
What am I speaking to?
That's DBS. Sorry about that, caller. I'm really sorry about that. Yes, Brain, we can talk about these activities, and the caller rightly said that you had song competition. Ophelia Murray
won many times.
We had courts. We had cut from all about. Lawrence Berman, I think, was from Peebush.
That's right.
You had cut people from Portsmouth and cut people from all about Dominica.
All over, man.
Come in and give their content. And people used to love hearing the Tim. People used to love hearing that Tim.
I still love it.
And it's so sad that we only have Lawrence Berman. And anybody who has much more than what we have at DBS Radio, I'm asking them to bring it for us, because there was a lot of cut in those days.
Yeah. And that court, you must not forget that the court evolved from your parents giving you stories about Kopelape
and
Kopetig, and those kind of stories that, you learned as a little boy growing up, listening to stories being told by your father or by your mother or by your auntie. So, these evolve, and persons were then able to take them and even create new ones during the independence celebration.
And what was good about the court is that it sometimes would speak of the devil, but to make things so real and to create that fear in you, that Kopelape ale as on go show or go wash. Avec itele ale and dida gloire me ite pe neye. Avec ça qui quoi ça ou qui vini on lot pas copé ou savent on go chien qui les mange copé la paix mais copé la petit tellement intelligent il dit chien descend bas avec là où descend mon vini à sous dos.
Well, a fellow who I noticed, and I must call his name here, who I find has captured a lot of the traditional stories in his a fellow called No. He has written several books.
Yes, No.
Yeah. He's written quite a number of books on Kopelape. Good evening, No.
Yes,
on
I think
Kopelape.
I've read a few of his books.
Right, he has captured, which is what is very good, because at least he is still capturing the moments that we tend to be losing in terms of our traditional stories.
So even the court. You had the Kokoi Tory. The Kokoi Tory, Wesley and Marigot and Woodfordale. People would come in and to give the Kokoi Tory.
Yes.
As you hear, Tory means Beth.
Because Kokoi itself is a kind of patois. It's a kind of Creole. And so, yes, and this emerges from Antigua, Montserrat, those the Leeward Islands.
Me nigga not going to try to talk like the Kokoi people.
You can't talk like the
me no go talk. Me no go talk about that. Tal. I don't going to try that at all.
Yeah, shine like a flambeau. And
so during that period, communities are feeling so proud of themselves. Right now, I think we have competitions, but people actually come in wrong and give their true talent to the various people from the various parts of Dominica who were present at the Botanic Gardens. And that was really amazing. And the dances, when you see, the flirtation would last about 15 minutes.
That's right.
With different sequences, and making people have an appreciation for it.
But you must remember, this quadrille business is French,
Yes.
It's danced by the aristocrats.
Right. Guanja.
The Guanja, Ballet was for the ordinary persons in Africa.
Right.
But this tradition where you
slow
and dancing and
dance rolling
and move
across,
one up,
one down,
That's French.
That's
French aristocratic dance, which the French plantocracy or the plantation owners brought down with them.
If we can be truthful to the listeners, the aristocrats in those days did not appreciate that kind of culture.
Well, I beg to disagree with you because when I used to go and watch them, veil them when they were dancing in Roseau.
So stop here. And I know what I'm talking about. These people dance their dance, but they never dance among us.
Oh,
So
they dance among themselves.
That's the point I'm making.
Yes.
That's the point I'm making.
But that
so they
dance-
go to their special hall. They go to
Albert Hall, maybe, I don't know.
They would maybe go to Dong Lantern area, or they would go to Cherry Lodge and do their thing, but they were not doing it among us. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening, caller. Good evening to you, caller. I'm sorry about
Hello?
that. Yes, good evening.
Good evening, you're live.
Yes, Cecil?
Yes.
Yes, it's me again. I called back. You all were asking me whether I was there. I could hear you, but you could not hear me.
All right. We hear you now.
Yeah. Cecil,
Yes.
We're hearing you. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Cecil, please don't do that. You're talking about Diab in court. No, not court. Bedtime stories. My grandmother, she never spoke one word of English. And she died at 95. Every night she would give us, tell us bedtime stories in Creole. And Cecil, when she got to the part that says, Ki dia besa ki kahele shum mama ju ki kahele shum mama ju. I used to be scared, but nobody knew, and it was nighttime. Oh my gosh! Woo! People are bringing back memories, but. Can we have these things written? Is anybody doing short stories of our history? And, the young people need that,
I think I would like to believe that the Ministry of Cultural Division, would maybe document those things so that our generation to come would have that there to really see, that we preserve that for them.
The tradition.
So I must ask Ulson to find out from him.
And not only in short story, I think that these things could be dramatized.
Yes.
In plays,
And write the history itself.
And history itself, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks very much.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, Cecil,
yeah.
before she just brought back memories. When you heard the stories, you want to get up to urinate, but
Pastor Fessa, somebody,
man, you asking your brother to go with you. You not go with me. I actually had to urinate in bed because I internalized those stories so much that I couldn't venture.
Not you alone. It wasn't you alone.
So I had quite an experience that when my parents or my friends told us those stories, I wouldn't want to even go outside there in the evening time.
And it is strange, my mom in particular used to do that at the very early part of our life. But you know what changed that? Christianity take that away from us. Because Christianity made you believe that, these things is petty, these things are not of value and so on. But we now as grown-ups can realize the value as a culture, as a people. You know what I'm saying? So the Crusaders came and to tell us, those stories are bedtime story, call jump over the moon, that's not real. And the Christianity aspect of it really removed a lot of our
African tradition.
Because if you remember, they made you think that our tradition was a sin. Jodia. Up to today, you have some Christians that will say to you that I will not go to cultural gala because it's a sin. That's what Christianity did to us, and we must speak about that too. But our culture was strong, and I'm saying that the church is also, to a certain extent, to me, is also responsible for the eradication of our culture.
Well, I think that a lot of them now, I must confess, is beginning to incorporate some of this culture in the church, in their songs. Some of this culture, some of the preachers are incorporating it. Not only that, it was taboo when you were growing up to speak Creole or Patois. But a lot of communication is being done now in Creole or Patois in the churches now. So they're beginning to incorporate the tradition of Africa into their ceremonies, church
And
ceremonies.
that is why I'm saying to you that a lot of the Guaja in Roseau in those days spoke Creole, but among themselves. And they would tell the servants that don't talk Creole, because if you speak Creole, it will make you lose your identity, which is English. Now, we have seen the results of that. Today, years later, we're asking to speak it in the schools. We're asking to make it part of our curriculum. We're asking to make sure that
There's a
our
dictionary.
politicians speak Creole in Parliament. But we had the opportunity. We had the opportunity many years ago, but the Guanjan threw it away from us.
But here is...
And I want to say that. I want to be very clear on that.
You're very right. But if you go to Parliament and you say, Gaston Misika Pali,
The speaker calls you.
The
and say,
speaker calls
Can
you.
you translate this, please?
Mr. Minister, could you please translate for us what you just said? But he wouldn't just let it pass, because quite a number of those guys or women sitting in Parliament may not understand what you said, because they were not taught to speak Creole or Patois when they were going to school or even at their homes.
So we saw in the 70s, the language was very popular among the ordinary. Very, very popular among the ordinary. And so E.O. Libla at that time felt that he wanted to make us be different from others. And so he established the WOB, the dressing of the Creole, and so we could identify ourselves. And then he brought in the shujak. If you remember,
Yeah.
the
I
shujak.
used the shujak at the grammar school.
Right. So he brought in the shujak as a national wear.
Yeah, but I gave you a story where he went in the cinema with his shujak and was not accepted by the mulattoes or mulattoes. Because they didn't respect it. You had to have your coat and
And I
tie.
think that's when he went to Parliament and make it rule.
A rule that you can use your shujak. So even in dressing, the traditional thing like wop douillet and so on was not readily accepted in the workplace. And I now see people now going to work.
And I want to also compliment at the same time the same set of people who fought against it
have adopted it.
So the reason now into the 80s to adopt it and to make it grander and bigger and to make the world now appreciate what we have done. And we must not forget the work of Felix Henderson, that he actually made the language now international and accepted. And so once upon a time the Creole language was a bastard child. Today, that bastard child is no more a bastard child.
And there was another guy, I think, from Granby.
We're talking about Marcel.
Right, it was
Jamala.
Jamala, who was one of the pioneers of the Creole language. So these guys must be given credit. And not only that, in terms of the culture, we must not forget Sissi Cordero.
Yes, she played
Boyd,
an important
in terms
role.
of, bringing Creole language. And not only that person, but also Henkel Christian, the Minister of Education at the time and Culture, who also was one of the persons that Libla used to bring this culture into fruition, because they established it was under the regime of H.L. Christian that the cultural division was established, and Alwyn Bully became its first head.
And we must not also forget that in reference to DBS Radio, they played under the leadership of Dennis Joseph, played an integral role, and that's why I said when Creole became part of the programming of DBS Radio, I mean it was arms in the air. Arms in the air. Why are we speaking Creole on the national radio station? Are we planning to make our children become deaf?
Illiterate?
Good evening to you.
Yes, Cecil. I have been listening to Lakou since it was instituted, right? And listening to you tonight is like a different person I'm hearing, man.
Why?
To hear you talk about Christianity, and our spirituality and what the people did to us to take that away from us.
Well, it's consciousness, it's black consciousness now, eh?
I am so glad to hear that. Oh my goodness.
No, but that is the reality.
That's the reality
of things, you know?
Things, you know?
Because we all remember once upon a time that we appreciated our African culture, but when the Crusaders came, when the church came in, they made us think that our culture was a sin and made us felt guilty for dancing ballet. So you find that our children, when our parents now became outside of the Catholic Church, let's put it that way. I want to use the word Catholic Church because the Catholic Church did almost every and anything. The other churches, the Protestants, figure out that anything outside of the Bible was a sin, and we have to be really for ourselves. So when these men, you're there with me?
She left
Of course, I'm listening.
So when these men came into our paths, they talk about Jesus and the kingdom of God. They told us that those traditional culture that we had or have was a sin. And so those of us who, as I said, my mother taught us, my mother was at the time
when you
teaching us,
you got baptized. You got baptized.
But you know, I got baptized.
and you forget your tradition.
No, but no, I never forgot my tradition. I want you to know that. Sorry about that caller. I just want to correct him. I have always been involved in calypsos. I've always been involved in the tradition.
Right.
So I've never lost that
so
at
at least you one of those unique ones.
Church never could have never enslaved me to make me find that I should not be doing this. Okay. I saw the difference. Yes, go ahead, caller. Sorry about that.
Yes, Cecil. That is why I left church, you know. When you come into consciousness, right? Are you there?
Yes.
Go ahead, speak.
When you come into consciousness, nobody can take that away from you because they gave us what they had and they took what we had. Okay? And then we became so engrossed. You know, we say, oh, if we do this, you know, you will go to hell. Where is hell? But anyway, I don't want to beg this sermon tonight. It is so good to hear you. So what do you think of voodoo and Pierre?
Let me tell you something. In Ghana, voodoo was considered a spiritual.
It is spirituality.
I have a program that I'm going to bring on DBS Radio after the independence in reference to voodoo. When people think that voodoo, there's a particular country, Benin, I think.
Yes, Benin.
Maybe.
Right? They believed a lot in voodoo. And it was not as people think as the Crusaders made us to believe. That's the way that we were inviting our spirituality into us. So when people talk about the voodoo is not as we coin it to be.
Right. Well, they coined it for us, thinking that it was bad and it's sinful and whatever. Let me tell you a story about my grandmother. She used to work for the priest, right? And she had her little book. So I don't know what was in the book, but my brother told me one day a man came to her and said, Mo pedi zani mo mousa. So she told him, go to such and such a place and you will find it. So said, so done. He came back and told her, Usaf Saudi mo se voe mo tape zani mo mousa. So we have to go back to where we came from. We have lost it, but we are regaining it.
Anyway, Cecil, that's going to be...
Thank you very much,
ma'am.
Thank
nice.
you.
Continue the good program. Continue to teach and edify.
Thank you. Yeah.
Well, Cecil, you see, in terms of your tradition, your culture, which is the program, you cannot divorce yourself, as I said early on, that a lot of the culture originates from Africa, and also from the Kalinagos, from the French. So there's a multi-mix of the culture, because remember, we were transported from Africa into the Caribbean. So we brought some of the culture with us. We brought some of our voodoo practices or African cultures with us. Then the French and the Europeans brought their culture with us, and we adopted some of it. And then we have to be able to sift through those different cultures.
And that is the sickening part of it, where we had our own. We came from a civilized society in Africa. The Europeans took us, they adopted us and they inculcated in us what they think that they wanted us to know. And they made us to believe that what we knew was false. And that's why I think in terms of the African culture, the things that we used to do, the ballet, the flirtation, the conte, the talking the Creole, you know, the church made us think that is not right to do. And how you do that is a sin. And so we saw the demise of the culture when we saw a great exodus of people moving from the Catholic Church. I'm sorry to say it that way. A great exodus from the Catholic Church into the Protestants. And people can challenge me on that, but that is my view.
Well, basically, as well, historically, the Europeans themselves did not want you to communicate in certain languages. And as a result, they did not understand it because you're still using your Creole if you go into certain countries for people not to understand what you're saying.
That's correct.
And the Chinese use their language here, you go and buy, and they don't want you to understand what they're talking about. So your language has always been a means of communicating with each other so that others do not understand you in a particular situation you find yourself in. So those were some of the issues we had to face in terms of our language. So that's a big thing in terms of the culture and in terms of religion. This is a big one. And it's something that we have to explore at some stage in our discussion. But the culture must not only remain in the field of music. We have our own culture in terms of the foods that we eat, in terms of our herbal medicine, and in terms of our traditional medicine. Because when something went into your eye, your mother put plantain in your eye. Which was the herbs, because a lot of those things we have lost as well in terms of which plant is good for what. Because a lot of the times when I had to go to bed, my mother would give me bush tea. She'd give me soursop leaf to drink so I would be calm. So that would calm my nerves and make me sleep well. So you had traditional herbal teas that when you're growing up, your mother had at the back of her head.
So we're going to come to that. I really want us to discuss that aspect of it. But I also want to go back a little bit when we spoke of National Day. Many of us remember that before 1980-85, that we had street jump up on the 4th of November. You remember that?
Yes.
We used to have street jump up.
Yeah.
We used to have our Queen show. We used to have calypsos.
Yes.
So, and all of these things left us again. I don't want to blame the church this time. I don't want to blame the church.
But I even want to go and challenge you further. When I grew up as a little boy, Jump Up Carnival Day was the whole day, 6 to 6.
Yes.
We never had a time, We went 6 to 6. I remember that. You never stopped jumping. But there came a time when certain limitations were put in terms of the time. That you come from Monday from 4 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night. But when I grew up as a young boy and my mother was jumping in the carnival bands, they went for the whole day. You jump until you're tired. And now in the independence where we had, after we work, 3rd of November passed, the 4th of November was our jump up.
Jump up. Curtail. It closed everything.
So that culminated the activities
for the whole day.
And
then we saw after 80, there was no more of the carnival. 80? I think it was later after 80. We did that for a number of years. I remember National Day, before we were independent, that we used to have this carnival jump up. We used to have steel pan too. Steel pan competition.
Yeah, steel pan.
Yes, our steel pan competition. And I think these are some of the things that we need to talk about to help in the development now of our independence. So, for instance, we know that we have the World Creole Music Festival coming up, but I'm saying the week of the festival, can we now bring, like the good old days, steel pan? Can we now get the schools to be a little bit more involved, and communities? You had Canefield, you had Roseau, you had Maho with their steel pan, you had Granby. So can we now create, can the Ministry of Culture can also now get the communities now to be involved in steel pan, because steel pan is black people's thing. Steel pan is a Caribbean thing. It's not Japan, it's not Europe. It's a Caribbean people's thing. So can we now look at some of the things that we used to do in the good old days and bring it into the week leading up to the
but you see, your host made a very important point. Steel pan, would it have to be electrified? Would it have to find a medium whereby it's not only you can hear clarity of sound, the type of pan you play, because in the traditional thing you did not have the chrome pan. Right now you have the chrome pan.
But in our time growing up, you see hundreds of people following the steel pan.
Yes.
With no amplifier. Right? You had a number of bands. You had a number of steel pans, in one band. And it was sweet, very well arranged. The first pan was good. The guitar was good. The double tenor was good. The bass pan, there was like 3, 4, 2, I think, at the back. The bass used to be at the back.
But the reason why I'm saying that, Cecil, is because I know, for instance, Andre from Kingsfield attempted to bring the steel band back in a form whereby he probably would have it on a truck, a trailer truck, that person would be able to follow. But, as I said, I like the idea, but it would have to probably that's my own interpretation, that it would have to evolve, because you're dealing with a new generation in terms of the music that they enjoy hearing, in terms of the electronics. So it would be something where you're bringing it back, but at least you want people to be able to find a way a common ground where they can appreciate it. Maybe not in its present in old form, but in a new form, but it's still pan playing. That's my view in terms of it.
But I just think, because we are going back talking about the whole issue of the Lakou, because those issues, those things that we're talking about was all involved in the Lakou.
Yeah.
We saw, since some of us graduated to higher heights and to have bigger jobs, a lot of the things that were commonplace in the Lakou were all gone. And I think it's an appropriate time that we can try to help in the development of that. And that's why I thought it was important that we speak on the culture. So we saw every community, I don't want to use the word competition, but every community felt proud
to be part of it.
That if you call Granby, they will tell you about the culture, their elders. If you call Soufriere, they can tell you about their elders.
If you call Maho,
they can tell you about
their
elders. If you call Grand Fort, they can
even
tell
La
Plaine. So all of these communities, and I think we have to now start that all over again. We need to create that sensitization among them. And I'm calling, I know it might be a very tough order for the Ministry of Culture, but I think we have to see how best that we can try to bring some of those things on the map, on the surface again. Because if we do that, right, I think there's going to be a greater appreciation for the art.
But another thing I find that we need to document, for instance, we've had hundreds of competitions of short stories and poems through our National Day and our independence. I have never seen a book with those poems. I don't know, all the poems that won first prize, or the short stories, a compilation, that what I'm talking about, of all the short stories that won prizes to be compiled, so that students can probably do literature or English through the stories that that good writers wrote in the past, and they can use it for material for the English language and literature. So that's an idea that I think is noble, that we begin to use some of our own literature in terms of getting our students to appreciate the culture.
Yes, I want to agree on that.
Because some of those stories are just lying there and nobody knows about them.
Because you see, when we look at, as we said, we're looking at the graduation of the Lakou, some things should still remain. Something should still remain. And we are celebrating now 44 years. And yesterday, Brain, I saw some work that the ministry of culture was able to do at the official opening ceremony, where the theme is one Dominica, one people, one vision. I love that theme. I don't know about you, but I love that theme. One Dominica.
What makes you like that theme?
Because
But you must support it. What makes you want it?
It says to us, it says to me, that everything about us is just one. We have this one mass land called Dominica. And all of us who are in it should have one vision to ensure that we secure this beautiful piece of land.
But I want
Dominica.
to take you on that. I want to take you because that is a very important theme that you just read.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, one people, one identity, one philosophy in terms of where we're heading. For instance, I don't know whether you heard what was in the news recently, where a gentleman accompanied the Prime Minister on a mission in agriculture in Guyana. And we have to talk about it because you're talking about that theme.
Mm-hmm.
And he decided that he was going to go to that activity because he felt it was in the best interest of the country. Did you hear?
Even if he had a different political side.
Did you hear the kind of
I
what
heard,
happened?
yeah, I heard, you know. And that's why I'm saying that the theme this year is of great importance, that it doesn't matter what political side that we are on, as a people, we should have one vision for agriculture. We should have one vision for education. We should have one vision for auto mechanic, whatever the circumstances.
Exactly.
So
regardless of where
your
you
political
see,
side.
because I like the thing because you see, people must begin to think about the country's well-being,
Mm-hmm.
and if something good is taking place, people should support it
Mm-hmm.
in terms of driving the economy and driving the country forward.
Mm-hmm.
And we should not become so petty as to the idea or philosophy of a particular person. If the thing is good, the theme is correct, we should adopt it as our own.
And as we are entering into the 44th anniversary of independence, we should always, every day, remember this theme. One Dominica, there's no two Dominica. There's Dominica Republic and there's a Commonwealth of Dominica. One is Spanish and the other one is English. I'm in the English country. So this is one Dominica. One people. Once we are Dominican, it makes us one people. There's no subset.
But you see, that is why I still like what you're saying. We're talking about the culture and we're talking about the theme.
Mm-hmm.
Then it means that we have to look at why should it be, and I'm sorry to bring that, but that it has to come. And some people, we have to educate the masses. Why should it be that a person living outside of the country, sending their money to Dominica to help, to develop the economy, why should it be left out in terms of the economic and political development of the country?
Come closer to the mic.
Why should they be left out in terms of the economic and political development of the country? Why should we try to prevent people who are making a massive contribution, not only in terms of our culture, because I'm hearing that they're having Wobduet in England. I'm hearing that they're having Dominicans are celebrating their carnival in the countries where they live. They're sending their revenues, their remittances back to the country. Some of them are building their homes here. Why should they not be one Dominica? Why should they not adopt that theme? Why should there be difficulty with that?
Well, that's why I say. That's why I'm saying that right now it's important that as we're celebrating this 44th anniversary under this theme, that we must always remember it. Along the way, Brain, when we talk about this oneness, we have to have discussion to have that one theme. That is to say, we have to cross several bridges. So you might have an idea as to how do we adopt a proper educational system. But when all of us come together and we put that system together to propel education forward, we must all find ourselves working towards it. So that's what it talks about, the one Dominica and the one vision.
But I like the theme because basically when you're talking about that theme, you have to think deep in terms of the culture. You know, when I was studying in Jamaica, the Jamaicans always hold Jamaica as dear to them. And they tried not to do anything to destroy the image of their country. And we must inculcate in our people that we, wherever we are around the world, we should not try to degrade our country. We should not say, Dominique pas bon, and other countries are better than ours, because we are thinking in terms of a united Dominica, focusing on its economic and political development.
And so we should not drop the theme after Journée Creole on the 28th.
It should be continued.
It has to continue.
I think it's a very appropriate theme.
Very appropriate theme. I mean, to have a theme to say, one Dominica, one people, one vision. And saying that it will help to propel us forward, and it will remove some of the negative talk that we normally talk. It will help us to be a little bit more focused, and it is time, I believe, that as a people, I mean, we know that politics will come, we know that religion will come, we know that opinions will come. But at the end of the day, we have to always remember who we are and that we are Dominicans.
That's correct.
You know, so yesterday at the opening, I will never stop talking about yesterday because it was really impressive. Yesterday we saw the Kalinago compliments to the cultural division again, that they saw the importance of the first people and they allowed them to be first on the entertainment segment. The Kalinago people, they gave us a flair of the dance. It was called the Kalinago War Dance. It showed us a display of the way that they fought. Very beautiful dance. And I can imagine the work that went through and the thoughts that went through this to make it, to execute it the way it was executed last night. Michael Henderson, last night, she came in and she sang that song of Sonia Lloyd. You know Sonia Lloyd, I think. We worked together. You know, and really talking about Dominica. Beautiful song about Dominica, and Michael was able to belch that herself, you know, and was able to bring in the Miss and Madame Wop duet on stage. So basically we can see she serenaded those ladies. And then we had a nice segment that dealt with youth traditional music performance. And then also we had a combination of ballet performance. I mean, you should have been there. I know you were not there.
I wasn't there.
But you should have been there to see the Sibuli Massa Cultural Group, the Pebush Cultural Group, and the Tradibel Cultural Group. So these three communities came together with their ballet groups as one, a combination. They combined themselves and was able to give us, and I'm sure if you were to watch Facebook, that you would see several likes and shares. I mean, it was really, truly amazing. And I find that was a very good addition to the entertainment segment. I don't know how that thought came in place, but I really want to say that the thinker of that concept has to be complimented. Serious thoughts must have gone through it, but it was executed well. To see the belly of the free communities, how they were able to execute that. And that's why I was saying earlier on, I love seeing Henry, that's Carlton Henry, yesterday, and his partner, and also the two others. They were very, very, very good. And we saw Gregory Riviere, minister, but he has not dropped his culture. And so he came and do a cut feature in song with his group from Marigot. So Marigot themselves were very much involved, both with the young and the adults of the Marigot community, and that for me speaks volume to see that we could get a Kokoi feature into our independence. Because as I said earlier on, we speak of Dominica, but sometimes we forget the Cocoy, which is Marigold, Wesley, Woodford Hill, and we forget the Kalinago.
Yeah, well, very good. Whoever planned the program did an excellent job. In other words, you can see it stuck to the theme, because very often you have a theme and you do not find the elements of the performances synchronizing with the theme. So whoever planned around the theme for this year's independence inculcated or incorporated the various genres into the whole program, which is excellent.
And also too, we saw the combination of drumming. I mean, that was, you had Pebush, you had the House of Nyabinghi, Rastafari. Can you imagine Rasta was involved yesterday?
Yes.
Rasta was involved in our independence, and that for me is a great achievement. I cannot recall ever if I have ever seen Nyabinghi involved. And when we talk about Nyabinghi, I always tell people Nyabinghi is really from the roots of Africa. And we cannot forget our own, the drumming Assam. So we had the Nyabinghi, we had the Pebush cultural, Pebush drummers. We also had the Tibwa. We know that Tibwa is from Woodford Hill.
Woodford Hill, yes.
In the early days of the 90s, I saw quite a lot of free guys, Tibwa guys from Woodford Hill. And they were on yesterday, the YSM and also the Sibuli Massa cultural group. Really, yesterday to see that combination of drummers, and that was so clean.
That's progress,
and that is great progress. You know, that is great progress. Then we had, for me, another telling story. These two others, the mouth organ and the Jingping performance, where you have the signal band, a young band. They playing bouillon, and for them to show a great appreciation for the art, you saw guys on the boom boom, you saw guys with their accordion, you saw guys with their shak, also the drum, the mouth organ, because the mouth organ was played by Andy Tabal. So we saw Tambal. So we saw the band, Signal Band, doing that yesterday, and everybody was in awe. Pictures, videos went crazy when they saw that, because that was the very first time that we are seeing a greater appreciation is given to the art, to the culture.
Well, the culture in terms of incorporating the traditional instruments in the performance, which is good, because these instruments are very unique to us, and if you can incorporate them into modern music in your performance, that's good, because you have to be innovative. And as he said,
what they did, they played the traditional instrument.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. And whatever song they played or sang using these traditional instruments needs to be complemented, because it shows that these instruments are high valued within our own cultural space, and if you can use it to get people to appreciate the quality of songs that can come from these traditional instruments, that's excellent.
And not only that, it gave yesterday, even when I saw that, it reflects my mind back to the country Lakou. So where everybody in the Lakou in the country preparing for National Day and preparing for Christmas, you find that's what they would have been doing, doing their traditional, playing their traditional instrument to song and making people dance.
Of course.
So we saw those present day musicians taking the advantage of it. We also saw, and then they were also backing up Damas Challenger and I think Sowell Challenger. These are two legends in playing the mouth organ, and they both were splendid. I mean, they were great. They were magnificent. And I think kudos must go out to these men, these elderly men that actually stood out among the rest. They were together, the adults, and did that for us. Now, I also saw something, Jinping and Flirtation dance performance by the Triple K band. So can you imagine, what's his name? Froggy, the drummer of Triple K, he was playing the tabal. Then you had the guitarist of the Triple K playing the accordion. Then you had somebody else in the band doing the boom boom. And then you had Benji dancing Flirtation. You had the other lead singer dancing Flirtation. Then you had James Rodney, the manager of Triple K, dancing the Flirtation. Another young man I didn't quite know dancing the Flirtation. And it tells me that there's a greater appreciation than we think of the culture of Dominica. Yesterday was a telling example of the appreciation that we have given to our culture. And that is why some people in the Caribbean may try their best to see how they can surpass Dominica. But that is a very hard job to do. It's not as 1 to 3. It is not as 1 to 3 because we have made it part of us. So we do not only celebrate our culture during independence. And that is something that you have seen government functions where the Joan Frampton from Point Michel with her cultural group would be singing. Also the Petit Savant group would be doing their own. The Granby, a very popular one, would be doing their own. So we have seen the art form, the traditional art form alive outside of the period of independence, and that we must be able to complement.
Right, but you must give credit to the new man at the helm at the cultural division, because since he took over from Raymond Lawrence, it seems to me that he is being very creative in terms of what he puts together, where he's able to get the bands, the big bands, to move into the traditional instruments and incorporate them in music and dance. That is very good for him. And very often we do not like to give people their flowers whilst they're alive. I think if he continues in that way, creating and innovating these programs that he's now generating within the Ministry of Culture, it means that our culture is in good hands, because you have to evolve so that people themselves now can appreciate the culture. Because by creating these new genres or new vision in the way you present these instruments and in your independence, that people begin to appreciate it.
And I think Raymond Lawrence, I'm sure that he's proud of what he himself has done, taking the baton from Owling Bully, and now we are seeing a new man at the helm himself giving a greater focus and concentration on our traditional. He is a musician himself, so he too has a clear understanding as to what is required in the arts. And so while we celebrate our independence celebration, we have been speaking about our tradition and how we have been able to appreciate our tradition. Many other countries of the region tend to ask us, how are you all able to do that for 6 weeks? How are you all able to ensure the sustainability of this thing continues?
Because you see, you have to be very cognizant of the fact that other countries or other islands are yearning to have a similar activity, like a World Creole Festival. I've seen articles in the newspaper where other neighboring islands want to venture into that. But if you keep your quality of your product at a high standard, and you're always evolving, and you're always creating new ventures, then it's going to be hard for other countries to take it over. Because you have to understand, when you have a quality product, you have to sustain it. It cannot be business as usual. If you have a high quality product, then the quality has to be maintained so that other persons, because remember, the World Creole Festival is something that generates revenue when people come. It's part of your tourist industry. And so you have to make sure that whatever you do is of a high quality. I'm very happy to see that the opening of Independence, that the traditional bands, the big bands, were able to incorporate, and that I would be able to see it, because that part of it, some parts of it, have to be brought into the World Creole Festival, because persons who were not able to see it, at least there should be a little spot where maybe, I don't know how many minutes, that could be allowed, so that people can see the big bands not only do their traditional thing on the day, but that experiment.
Well, they're doing their side. They have the side act.
So that would be incorporated.
Yeah, I think what's important is that in Dominica, we can be proud of the fact that we have talented people. When you look at the 70s, even a certain extent to the 60s, when the Caribbean in the late 60s, everybody was playing instrumental. Gaylord's Power Union took the lead and came forward and do vocals. Mm-hmm. We saw Gordon Henderson and the
Exile
One creating a headway to establish what is called Kadas music.
It's true. Gramax.
It's true. It did not conceive and born in Dominica, but it is Dominican parentage. It was born from Dominican parentage. The Gordon Hendersons, the Ophelias, all of these people.
Jeff
Joes, actually the ones who propel this. And you'll find that in the 70s, you saw that over. Let's just take a call there quickly. Let's see a call is coming in there. Good evening to you, caller. Good evening. Good evening, caller.
Yeah, this Sensei Dominica calling from Florida.
Yes, Sensei.
Lakou.
Yes. Talk to us.
Yes. Mr. Yes, sir. Well, yeah, the Creole Festival. I made a big contribution when I brought in the Gaylords. Brought in Lord Breaker and Gist and some of the other guys from England to the Creole Festival. Now, I'm seeing that we are getting guys from Trinidad and Jamaica. So I'm trying to understand why we bring in overseas performers on a World Creole Festival, which represents Dominica, because, I have a record store and people are asking me, they want to see Dominica culture, but their customers seeing guys like Marshall Montano and performers from Jamaica. So why, and they want to see Dominica culture. So why are we still bringing in outside entertainers and paying them so much money?
Well, sir, if you want an answer, I can give you an answer to that. You have to understand, it is called World Creole Music Festival. And we are not isolating ourselves from the world. We have a product, and we have to exhibit that product to the world. But to also exhibit that product in the world, we have to invite other people to see that exhibition. And so we have other musicians.
Right.
We have other musicians.
You invited entertainers from other countries.
Yes, we have to do that.
Those are Creole. I mean, we're trying to actually present Creole music, not.
What is Creole music? What is Creole music? Can you explain to us Creole music?
Of course, Creole music is the Caribbean music, and particularly when you talk about Creole music, that has to exclude soca and calypso, because those are two different.
No. You just said that Creole music is Caribbean music. Isn't soca
Right.
Caribbean music?
It is. It is, but it's not Creole.
No, that is not true. That is not true. Because you see, you tend to take Creole. You tend to look at Creole as
That's soul calypso.
no. You tend to take Creole as that of French, broken French, but that's not Creole.
No, I didn't say anything.
Okay, so what is Creole then? What do you see? What do you see as Creole?
Creole is indigenous music coming from particular islands.
So soca isn't indigenous to us in the Caribbean?
No, it's not.
That's not true.
Well,
Soca was born in Dominica. If for shouting loud, soca was born in Dominica. Ras Shorty took the soca and went across to Trinidad, and it has been amplified, like we are now seeing in Bouillon. We see the French.
They're going to disagree with that, you know.
Well, anyway.
They will disagree with that. I
No.
understand exactly where soca came from. It came from our Creole music.
No. I tell you.
No, soca. The history is quite clear. The song was written by Chris Seraphine. E.D.P.T. Shorty.
Mm-hmm.
I know for a fact.
Yeah. Right.
And Shorty was here, and he took the song back to
Trinidad. Right.
And you should know about that.
Right.
You should know that is the genesis
of soca music.
Soca music, because even Sparrow himself took help him a lot. That is our man from Grand Bay helped
from Perush, Tokyo, from Pichele.
He wrote a lot of songs.
Right for soca for Mighty Sparrow.
Eh?
No, caller. It is not a fair assessment, because when you look at Calypso came from Martinique.
Mm-hmm.
It's no fault why the Trinidadians have taken it as an entertainment.
Calypso came from Africa.
It's. I'm telling you, in the Caribbean, we all know that we had a chate. We used to sing out loud in the field. And we know that came from Africa.
But let me answer him this way. The thing about it, you have a product, and you want persons from different countries to come into the country, and you have to have a fusion of different genres of music, which is a World Creole Festival. But it has to evolve, whereby you're not only looking at the music, you're looking in terms of an industry, bringing in people. Because what's the point of having a music that doesn't bring in persons from outside the country? Because when you're spending money, you want to make money. It's a business. You would be aware of that. Music is a business. You want to make money as well. So it's not only investing in a product, but you have to have a quality where you can attract people to come to the country.
I understand that too, because I've been in that business for a long time.
But I just want to say to you, caller, thanks for your contribution. And not everything that will agree with everybody. In this case, I don't agree with you.
And I enjoy your show anyway.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much. But
I enjoy the conversation with you too.
Yes.
Brains, I guess you guys are doing a very good job. That's very good.
Right. And not only that, you have a high quality of music that you have in your archives. A lot of this calypso. Yes. I would advise that you send some of those to us, so that we can begin to appreciate it.
Yeah, I made a promise to you. I'm not going to.
So don't negate on your promise.
All right. Thank you very much.
Take care.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Yes.
I understand that is from the heart of a pit. Mm-hmm. That's a Dominican who feels that he's a patriotic Dominican. Mm-hmm. He's of the view that we should only be focusing on everything Dominica. But we have to also understand that there are people who are coming for other people.
But I want to just jam you there, Cecil, because sometimes we have to be controversial as well. I cannot understand, for the likes of me, he who pays the piper calls the tune. I find that within a cultural space that some people have taken offense as to people wanting to know what the lyrics are of particular persons who are supposed to perform. I am paying you to come to a particular event, and I don't know what kind of music you're going to play, and I'm supposed to be paying you?
No, I don't understand. I have not understood.
Well, let me make it clear. I understand that some calypsonians were taking offense as to people wanting to know what songs they were going to sing on that day. That was in the news. I don't know whether
you're saying that the Calypsonians wanted to know.
Some Calypsonians were going to be invited to play at the World Creole Festival.
Yes.
You know that.
Yes.
But some of the organizers wanted to know the lyrics that they were going to sing.
I have no problem with that.
That's the point I'm making.
I have no, because you see, we have to understand what is calypso. We're not saying that calypso is controversial. We are saying that calypso, all of the time, it's about domestic matters. And I am not going to pay you to embarrass me. I want to be very straight on that one. And if the organizers are saying to you that I need to know what songs that you're going to sing and the lyrics that you're going to have, I have no problem in that. Because you're asking to come on the stage. You're asking to come on that big stage. That's what you're saying. You want to come on that big stage? It is a Creole festival. We want to give you the opportunity to make your extra dollar as you want it to be. But I still need to know what songs that you're going to sing.
And I agree with you.
So you mean you're going to come and sing among 12,000 people, maybe 15,000 people, and you want to tell the people, the 12,000 people, wrong or right, how bad Dominica is? Wrong or right? No, that's not the place for that. It's a place for entertainment. So my brother, if anybody tomorrow put me on Facebook saying that, I have no problem. I am saying to you that
and you're firm with that.
I am sticking with my point. That there's no way that
no
I'm going
compromise.
Compromise? No, there is no way on earth. Not even in the big United States of America. Not even the big United States of America. That if you ask if he was alive, Bin Laden to come and sing that the American authority, even if he was a good rapper, even if Bin Laden was a good rapper, that they would say I accept him, Bin Laden.
Right.
If they accept him, they would say I want to see your lyrics.
Because as you noticed that even during the funeral, the Queen was very, the organizers were very selective as to who they allowed to come in.
But of course.
So they are the ones that determine.
So why do we think in Dominica that we are so much different? Why do we think that we are so much different? So you're telling me that in Jamaica they're going to have the sun splash and they're going to invite the best reggae singers around the world, and the Jamaicans that they're going to invite are going to sing about the ills of Jamaica in reggae.
Embarrass the country in that big event, world event.
I mean, it's not. I'm not even looking at the issue of embarrassing. Because, as I said, it is domestic matters. So if you want to sing about Roosevelt's Skerrit, and you want to sing about Lennox Linton, and you want to sing about country, and you want to sing about
there's a place for that.
There's a place for that.
Not there.
I will enjoy during the carnival. I invite you to all my functions. I am inviting you to all of my functions. You can sing about me if you wish. That is domestic matters.
Domestic.
And that is where we have to become mature enough. And I see no problem if the organizers have requested of the Calypsonians. And Mac, the organizers have a choice to decide which Calypsonians that they want. They have a choice. But maybe they'll speak with the Calypso Association if they have to. And this Calypso Association might give them a list of people. And the Calypsonian Association would tell them, it's like in the good old days. In the good old days when DBS Radio was carrying Calypsos, there were some Calypsos that DBS couldn't carry live. Ron Solomon's Run, we know we couldn't carry that live. We couldn't play that. There's no way. Because to DBS Radio at the time,
was offensive.
Was offensive to the station. Carnival time, But management felt it was offensive. There was once upon a time that Saltfish was considered
obscene
and couldn't be played on the radio. Yes?
Yes.
And you couldn't go against management for that. Once upon a time that you had other Calypsonians. I remember Fingers was a typical one. Fingers was not played. Couldn't have been played.
Yes. Management takes a decision.
Management took a decision.
Yeah. For bad or for good or for bad. They know why.
No, not for good or for bad. They don't know whether it's good or bad. They took a decision because they figure out that it's not to the policy of the
Right.
institution.
And some lyrics as well, the radio station has to protect itself because some of these lyrics may be libelous.
So why are you not now translating that now to the country? You're going to be libelous on the country? Let's be.
And I agree with you. I see you're very firm on that. I agree with you.
Whether people are happy I said that,
that's a matter for
people
them.
know my opinion on those matters.
So within the cultural space, you determine what is culturally accepted within that space at that time.
If we have a calypso show for independence and you want to talk all about Dominica, I'm even against that. I figure out for independence we're supposed to be singing patriotic songs about Dominica. When the season
come for that, you hit out.
When the season, right, of calypso in January, February, March, when that season comes.
Yeah, I agree with you.
You can sing everything about Dominica if you want. Say anything you want about Dominica and governments and opposition. That's
Right.
your business.
That's your business.
But you're telling me for independence, I'm going to allow you to sing songs to bring down.
And you have an audience at the stadium of almost 25,000 people from all different parts of the world come to enjoy themselves. You're going to embarrass us.
I mean, we have to look at the issue. The issue is at this time, not an issue. The theme around the World Creole Music Festival is to attract people to your country.
Yes.
And so, we will make you visit our waterfalls. We'll bring you to Champagne. We'll bring you to Emerald Pools. You will see the country in its bare face. You will see our talents. You will see our wop duet. You'll see how much we appreciate our culture. This is the time. We have to understand that.
For patriotism.
Man, there's a time for everything. There's the summertime. When summertime comes, when the summertime comes, the snow you expect to know. When the summertime comes, you expect flower to fall down.
Yeah, I know.
You don't expect flowers, leaves to
fall.
To fall.
Summer.
during summer.
I know.
Huh?
I agree.
You expect to get sun when winter comes. You expect to buy coats. You expect to buy your coats.
And you're firm. And I support you 100%.
So if anybody is vexed about what I say, well, sorry about that, me.
You make no apology.
I am not making any kind of apologies to that, and I'm sorry my language.
Yeah, but you're right. Within the cultural space, within the season, there's a time for every season.
But I'd like to ask one of the same people. If I come to your home, as a visitor, would you allow me to just go into your fridge or go into your bedroom?
Well, you have limitations.
That's the point.
And I agree with you.
I didn't hear that this week. I was so busy this week.
But I just had to remind you that this was part of the discuss.
Wherever that discuss is, I'm sorry that they fail. I think we have to be a little bit more mature.
Yeah, we have to be mature.
We have to be a little bit more mature. Let us forget what political side we support
and
let us look at the cultural and let us look at the cultural theme. Mm-hmm. Let us look at the cultural space we are. And I stick in a little bit on that because I'm so passionate about what you said, and I couldn't believe someone would want to go against the organizers' decision. I mean, so my friends out there, let us always remember there is a season for everything.
And that season is not the season.
when school closed,
that season is not the season.
When school closed in July, August, to get a child to go to school, you know what you have to do to get a child to go to school?
I know.
Child on holiday,
The holidays. It's holiday. Yeah, very important. Very important. I agree with you. And as our friends are listening, you have to understand that there is a time when you have to put your country first. It's a time when you understand it is the independence celebration. It's a time to showcase your country.
I just find, in saying that, I think we're too frivol. We're too free sometimes with our opinions. There are some things that we have to respect. So, for instance, where did I see that on a video? I saw a video, and that disgusts my inner being. That a guy went to somebody's funeral in church and smoking a cigarette. I mean, let's be real. Give me the chance if as a police officer and I'm inside there, I arrest you.
Mm-hmm.
This is a sacred ground.
Yeah, you have to understand.
And you're talking about your rights?
Your rights. No, you have to understand there are certain things that you don't accept. There has to be standards. And during the independence celebration, where you're showcasing your country to the world, you're selling your country to the world because you want your country to look good out there in the international space.
But
it's your culture.
It is not about. It's not even about making your country look good, because we are not hypocrites. All right, like everything else, there's good and there's bad, but there is a time for a place.
I agree with you.
A time and place for everything. So your time coming for carnival, my brother, you're gonna come and sing about me. Or your customs, sing about me. And that I said that. But I will tell you, no. And if the DFC or the DDA gives in, I would be on radio.
No, man, they're not.
I'll be on radio asking for all of them resignation.
No, they're not giving it. They're not giving it. They have taken a decision as to what is accepted.
That should not even be asked.
It was asked.
No, that should not even be asked.
I must remind you, Cecil, it was asked.
No, but that should... Come on. I mean, we must get a little bit more mature.
No, I agree.
I mean, come on.
I agree with you.
When we tolerate these things, when we are afraid to speak of those things, people tend to think that they have a right to do things that are not correct. And I don't have time for that.
And I agree with you. I agree with you, Cecil.
So wherever that discourse was, let me tell you, I throw in cold water every day. I hear that.
On that. Well, Cecil, it's very important that whilst we talk about our culture and we just deal with a controversial matter, that I want you to shift the emphasis away. I don't know if you're prepared for us to move into another cultural aspect in terms of our, on that day. I know I myself is looking forward, for the opening of the hunting season.
You are a meat eater. I'm not a meat eater.
I know you're vegetarian, so stay with your vegetables.
Yeah. So
some people are looking.
You're going to look for crabs?
Of course.
You're going to look for turtles?
No, not turtle, crabs. And also, well, I'm not a lover of manikou.
There's no more frogs.
Agouti and frogs. I was never a lover of that, but I always enjoy my crab backs, and I know. Rose herself, my lady, love her crabs.
Okay.
So I know she herself looking for the time when the season opens.
Well, I can eat crab backs.
When she will have, she like her crabs.
But I won't eat manikou and.
No, I don't eat those things.
Well, we normally say.
But I know
opossum and I won't eat agouti and the others. I don't eat meat.
And I know the hunters are looking for the season when it's open for them to go and do their little hunting.
Well, let the crabs live.
I know, for instance, also during that time, people look forward to their fig and saltfish and their breadfruit, because you have to have your breadfruit with your smoked herring.
Yes.
During that time,
and your what do you call it, zaboka.
Right.
I'm not using the word pear.
Yeah,
zaboka. I'm not using avocado either.
Right.
Zaboka and farine. So we have to look. Don't forget our zaboka and farine. You said codfish and fig.
Right, your fig and codfish with oil.
And don't forget your roast breadfruit.
Your roast breadfruit.
With a little codfish too.
With codfish. And not only that, I find that another thing I'm not finding that used to be common to the Lakou, your mortar pestle.
Oh.
When last did you eat a tonton pilé?
Boy. you know what I do in my toto?
Yes.
I don't do it because I bought some time ago, a number of years now, I bought a toto pilé.
Your mortar pestle?
Yes, my mortar pestle. But you know what? I purchased it for good looks.
No, man, you was
as an ornament to the house.
It out, man.
No, as a facelift to the house. So I use my God-given hands and I crush
your food.
The food, the dashing. I don't like my toto with fig. I don't like my toto with fig.
I like it. I
like my toto with dashing, ripe plantain, breadfruit. Yam, but it's not white, not lady yam. Baba wule. I can mix that, the nice toto with a nice gravy.
Right.
And ukapon la main. Because and anytime you eat tonton with spoon,
you have to
give your hands. All your 5 fingers must go
in
the mortar pestle and take it in your hands, and everybody must eat from that.
Well, so that's very interesting that our foods during that time, people go back to their tradition in terms of whatever they, that they eat, because they want to change their menu.
I wish, I'm going to be controversial. I wish that the government could ban macaroni and rice
during that time
for that week.
For that week, so let people go and eat their fig. But you'll have problems.
Well, I want to be controversial
because you'll have to tell them don't go to KFC. And so the women, you'll become very unpopular with them. You'll become very unpopular with them.
No.
Because it means that they cannot go there.
All we're doing from June, we call it Carl Nassif.
Yes.
I was in Carl for the week.
For the week of the Creole.
Of the Creole, we are not selling no
fast foods.
No fast foods. What you want to do is fry plantain, fry dashing, fry the banana.
But you see the problem you're going to have, Cecil, and I must bring it out here.
What is the problem?
The problem you have is some of these young ladies don't know how to cook that.
Well, I tell you, KFC will do it for them. KFC will do it for them. Good evening to you, caller.
Yeah, good evening, me again.
Yes.
Actually, a lot of people doesn't make that mistake. The name of the thing is not mortar pestle.
What is it?
It is a mortar and a pestle.
It's two.
The pestle is what you hold in to pong the food in the mortar.
And the mortar
is not a pestle. A lot of people saying, "Oh, I have my mortar pestle." Not a mortar. You can have a mortar without a pestle.
I am guilty. I'm one of those.
99% of the population guilty. 99%.
I tell you, a lot of people saying that.
Well, I guilty.
Well,
I'm one of those.
Mortar pestle. Who's the South?
Guilty as charged.
Mortar pestle. Mortar and pestle. Hold on. Hold on, my partner, my comrade. Hold on. Do you sense that it is a nice language to say mortar and pestle?
But of course, that is what it is.
My brother, it is mortar pestle. So your mind supposed to know is two.
One time.
Yes.
Okay. You see, this kind of thing that you were saying a while ago is your opinion you want to say so.
Okay, I will go with you. A mortar and a pestle.
Correct thing. If you work in the correct thing, okay, either you have a mortar and a pestle.
I go with you.
Mortar and pestle.
And pestle. I go with you.
Pestle is what you're using to
hold on. Caller, hold on a while. You saying that too English, my brother.
Yeah.
Mortar and pestle.
Mortar.
You want it one time?
Okay, you want it in Creole? You want it in Creole?
Yeah, let me hear you.
Okay, in Creole. Pilon every mash pilon.
No, in Creole you can say that. In Creole, everybody in Creole will say pilon avec mash pilon. That's what they will say.
Pilon avec
mash pilon.
Yeah, they don't say pilon mash pilon.
That's actually no.
It doesn't say pilon. Why they put in the avec?
Because it's and it's two.
Thank you, caller. Move on to the next one.
Nice important point that come up there tonight. Okay. And you know, and one touched me a lot. It's something we're missing out. When you was talking about the culture, okay, even before the lady talk about the voodoo and thing, and we see. For that, I'll just say voodoo is black man religion, and they make black man hate his religion by saying it's bad as a first.
That's correct.
100%.
100% tick.
Let's go down that road.
Thank you.
But around the culture, you were saying, when you come to something, you were saying, you say, boy, I don't want to say it's the church. When you were talking about the thing that used to happen in the 70s and them kind of thing, and how we lost all them things that was happening in the 70s of our culture and all them kind of thing we do it.
I said it's the church. I said it's the church.
Yeah, but on one point especially, you said you don't even want to say it's the church. Okay? Because that's the thing. I thought you were going to say what you think, but I didn't hear you say it, so I want to tell you. I will tell you something. So if you check this from the same line all you was talking there, from the 70s come up. When it comes to the 80s, that is where our culture went in decline. You know?
In the 80s?
Yeah, man, the late 70s, 80s, yes, in the 80s. That is where our culture went in declining. And you can remember one time it was said that culture and sport wasn't a priority.
Oh yes,
Yes,
It wasn't a priority.
Okay,
yes.
that is where our culture went in decline. And something I'm not hearing from all, which is very important. Sometimes I don't like to blow my own trumpet. That's why I like to still think that is my whole people and it's my whole company life. Because we're saying I boast stuff, but I said my boast stuff, but it's not boast stuff. It's the truth. Something we're missing. In the 80s, there was one organization that come out, okay, to help the culture because Mr. Bully was going through a lot of stress in cultural division. I don't know if all you know that.
Yes,
he was.
that's
When
correct.
he
That's,
started.
that's very
And
correct.
there was one organization that come and changed the whole cultural thing around in Dominica.
Was it
You know what
SPAT?
organization that was?
Was it SPAT?
No, SPAT wasn't a cultural organization. SPAT
There was small business.
economical.
Which
SPAT came as a result of that organization.
SPAT came as a result of that. Cultural movement?
Exactly.
Cultural
the
movement.
movement for cultural awareness. MCA.
Yeah, I remember
That
that.
is the movement when it comes to Manchalo, Mackenzie, Gregory, Baba, them kind of fellas there. Well, I come in that thing late because that's the first thing that give me employment. They employed me. Okay?
Oh, I know who's speaking, man. My
Huh?
partner.
So that is why
MCA, you was in that. You was in that.
That's why I use
From
the word,
Maho, yeah.
That's why I use the word SPAT,
Yeah, he
because
was
I
in
know
that.
SPAT was very much involved.
Because SPAT came in after MCA because
MCA.
SPAT came in as industrial the small project.
It was an NG, it was an
NGO.
NGO, but a lot of the small
just
project
like,
what they dealt.
just like MCA, all of them were NGO, non-governmental.
Yeah, but
non-governmental.
but if
SPAT came out because SPAT we Ron Green and Mr. from Joey Pelty and all them fellas there, that came up, okay, and they came up and they bring up the small project helping financially, whereas MCA was culturally, and SPAT and MCA did a lot of work even before SPAT itself was born as SPAT. You understand? They did a lot of work with MCA, especially Joey Pelty and them guys, a lot of work with MCA. But MCA was the arrow that started to revise the culture in Dominica and keep it up. I'm not saying that because if you look today, look at all the areas, and you will call them today. We have ministers, and so you can call them, and they'll tell you yes, MCA, Lakou, P. Bush, all over Dominica. MCA used to go and keep cultural workshops.
Yeah, but one of the things that I find that you should have incorporated and kept alive, caller, is that you had your street theater, the popular theater, whereby
well, that is what it was. Yes. They introduced that popular theater where we used to take issues. We go, for example, we did the Chimelitan.
With the same Mr. Bully.
Huh?
With the same
No,
culture.
Man. No. Mr. Bully wasn't Chimelitan. Chimelitan was MCA.
No, okay.
That did that with the Laplin.
Oh, okay.
The Laplin group. What is the name? Kubu. Look, I even forgetting the name. They had a special name. How could I forget the Laplin? Anyway, Laplin. You had them people in Grand Fond, Jules Pascal and them. They did this story about Grand Fond. You have all them things MCA. You go down to Paybush. You go to Clifton, Jules, this Margaret Jules.
Margaret Jules Ray, yes.
Yes, and them people there, them people, some of them, they were children in school. Some of them were students going to secondary school. And MCA used to bring them together in their community in all Grand Bay, everywhere. Because when MCA started, you had people like Maudlin from Grand Bay, Baba, Gregory, Sobers, Panman, Mackenzie, Charles Spear, and a few others. And not so much, you had this girl from Culinary Street, Alfia, these two women, all them kind of people.
Alfia Johnson.
And people like me come in, and then after you had even people like Marcia Dublin come in and sing and work. And it was an organization, a non-governmental organization, specifically in this culture. And at the time, they got help from these free organizations that used to help them, that used to fund them, was QSO, Oxfam, and Hivos. Hivos was a university from Holland, And we know QSO was the Canadian agency and Oxfam was British. And that's what, and did a lot, and they revised the culture. That's why today, I mean, most people don't say that, and I don't, that's why I like to blow. But if that is what that kept it, because in the 80s, by 85, the culture was really done. Or independence thing was, yes, we used to be there, but after that, you see, right start. I can remember the first time I met Hunter, Hunter. Hunter, I was asking people that. What was Hunter first Calypso name? When we met him, we were coming from a session in Clifton, and we gave him a ride to go down here, go to Portsmouth to practice for Calypso show. You know what was his first Calypso name?
No, I don't know.
Okay, Morgie. He don't come Roto with Morgie. Morgie was Portsmouth. When he come Roto, he come Hunter. But Morgie, when we first met him, we gave him a ride, bringing him down Portsmouth, and we were talking on the boss and things. And yeah, so you see a lot of things, and and we're not making mention of those things. But is the modern day, we're lucky. We lose, like what you see earlier on, like the Europeans, the colonizers, they change us. And something again that's important, as I said that, if you remember, just in the week there, on Friday, I think, when the Caribs had their program, boy, some people don't know, but it was very, very, very thin. And they made certain points there. And that is where it's leading again to the spirituality, okay, and the religion kind of thing. You can remember all of the ago I said the Caribs was worshipping the sun, the river, the rain. They had the thing, they were saying their prayers. That is what, that was the Caribs' own, okay? The Kalinagos, that was their culture. And the Kalinagos and the Africans, they mix up because they help each other. They help each other in surviving. That is why today our Kalinagos are so strong and they are the only survivors. Because just like the Negma War got help from them, they also get help from the Negma War. And at that one time they used to work together. You see, in the thing. And he was saying that the spirit, they see the spirit in the mountain, in the river, and that was the culture we have. And that is why with everything we say, we have to be careful that we don't make the same mistakes now, because there's something that's coming in, which we call technology. And if we don't tie up our heritage and our cultural thing with the technology, we will lose it for the technology, because we already said no, children doesn't go and play hoop and they don't play skip and they don't do ring games and things because everybody on their computer. We have to get a way to tie the two. Our heritage, our cultural heritage and our thing and thing. Okay?
Thank you, caller.
Yeah, man, very, very, very. I telling you, there is a lot of things. I just did, I laugh with that sort of thing, but that's what I'm
and for instance, I know your contribution to the theater, and that's because we don't want to go there. But I'll jump session with it before we leave.
my brothers, don't go down that road.
No, I'm going to jam you, and I'm going to force you to call again.
And when I do all what I did it for love of country. Dominica is always food for me. And if I have one regret in my life, I will say I regret when I went to Trinidad the first time. A friend of mine who was a big lawyer in Trinidad, young boy, we were in mouth together, said, "Me stay Trinidad and don't go back Dominica." And I said, "No, I cannot go back Dominica." At the time, I went to Trinidad to.
But the spirits call you back home, boy.
Huh?
The spirits call you. The spirits of your ancestor call you back home.
I mean, Dominica is all I have. Dominica, I'm not nowhere in the world like Dominica anymore, brother. Nowhere. For me, in all them countries I go to, probably one country I would probably live Dominica and go and live in is Grenada. Nowhere else in the world for me,
Thank you, caller. Thank you, caller.
Have a nice night, my
Have a
gentlemen.
nice night.
Continue sharing the vibe.
Thank you.
You know we there, no can take me. And the film, okay, before I go, I must say that the film is so important for us to break that shackle of division. We must put down that imperialistic attitude that we have among us as a people. Let me forget the rest of the world from the imperialist attitude that we have and start developing a communal attitude and we will survive because we have the roots for it. We have all the foundations set there for us by our ancestors, by fighting or carrying their surviving. So why we cannot have a communal attitude and develop our country for the interest of all of us? One Dominica, one people, one vision, both swim for it.
Thank you. Yeah.
That was powerful.
I just want to tell people that we are live on Facebook and also live on YouTube.
Okay.
And the caller is so right, because you remember when we were talking, we stopped in the 80s, and we were saying that we saw, because I said from 85 we saw a small increase in the culture, and the caller was making the point. But let us go to the telephone first before I give my information on that. Good evening to you, caller.
Good evening, Cecil. Good evening, Brent.
Good evening.
Cecil, I need to engage you on the comment you made about the music with the calypso, right? Now, this is where I'm going to start. All music that's going to be played on the Creole Festival, World Creole Festival.
What's that?
All music that's going to be played on the festival. The organizers have to know the music that's going to play and the set and everything, because it has to do with royalties and stuff like that. That I think you know, obviously, right?
Yes, I know that.
Yes,
I know that.
yes, royalties,
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So, but this is where I need to engage you. You said that they need to know the lyrics of the song that the person going to sing. Now, in as much as I understand what you're going to do, that is a time and place or everything, this is what I don't want us to do, to cross the line between the art form, performing the art, and trying to tell people what to perform. So let me tell you what I mean. For instance, I have issues in Canada with people not playing Issa or any one of the young boy artists' music.
You have what? Repeat yourself.
Take your time.
And get that.
We didn't get it.
Which part?
You talk about
Young artists.
Young artists.
Yeah, so I have a problem with Dominicans up in Canada not playing the young artist music. Like whether it's a Rio, whether it's a Booyah, whether it's Issa, whether it's what's the other guy name? Whether it's Rich. And
Rio?
so, yeah, any one of them. I have a problem with people not playing it. You know why I have a problem with people not playing it? My problem is there's art, and whether or not you have in your mind that if a guy says something in a rude way is not art, that is a subjective matter. It is not an objective matter.
So hold on a while. Hold on. Because you say you want to engage me, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Why would you want me to play a music on my radio? I'm not talking DBS, or on my speaker at my home. Okay? And it talks about the person who has made me a woman. And it talks about the character in the worst way possible, in a raw way, rather than try to get, how would I say it, literature words to help describe what you want to say.
Okay, I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what. This is how I'll answer that for you, right? And it's the same point I was making about people not playing, don't want to play Asa or Reach or any one of them. Let me tell it to you that way. So, I'm the artist, right? And in art, you have to allow the artist to perform. Now, the point you're making about people coming and do something at your home and trying to embarrass you at your home, it's not that it's not a valid point, you know. The point is that you have a group of artists performing, right? And then you have a couple artists that will come there and do their art form in a different way. Now think about it in the general, let's talk about it in the general scope of things, right? You have what? 3 nights of 4 rhythms, and then out of that night you give Calypsonians, and then I'm going to be generous with the percentage. Maybe half of them anti-government. That's what it's because that's what we're really talking about.
No, I'm not talking that. I'm not talking that. I'm not talking who's anti-government. I know.
Let's say embarrassing.
The lyrics.
No, I'm not talking about embarrassing. I'm talking about the lyrics.
The lyrics.
The lyrics.
Yeah, no, but it's the lyrics. That's the ultimate.
No, the lyrics. Right, the lyrics.
It's the lyrics.
No, but caller, they can have their own political sides. They will have, because everybody cannot be one caller. They will have
That
their
is
political
correct.
side. So we can
That is
accept
correct.
the difference in terms of politics. But we're talking about the lyrics that they present on
Yeah,
the
but
evening.
and this is the lyrics I'm talking. This is the lyrics. First of all, this is the lyrics I pointing to, because this is why I making reference to Asa Music, Suki, Colry, Ridge, and all them people, because you're not going to get everybody to agree to the type of lyrics. But guess what? Let me explain something to you there. You know the difference between Ridge right now, and let's say Asa, and let's say Rio, and everybody else. Even if personally I like Signal Band, the Signal Band from my area in Goodwill, but it doesn't matter. Coleridge, Ridge and Suki and all of them, you know why they're doing well? Because their niche market gives them a lot of likes, like 500,000 and a million and all that kind of thing. And they're making money from that. So let's say you take them, right? We're talking about lyrics, right? And you put them on the Creole Festival, right? That is a niche market you're going to get for the Creole Festival. Now, I'm going to bring that same point back to the Calypsonians.
I'm not in agreement with that one. I am not in agreement with that one. That's not that's not totally true. Because if you have to look at we're looking at the average age of the people who go to the World Creole Music Festival. All right?
Okay.
Who will pay their money to go to the Creole Festival.
Okay.
We're going to put it in various categories. The person between the ages of 16 years, I don't want to say 16, but I have to say 16 because they are there too. 16 to 21, all right, may not be interested in Calypso at all. All right? They may not be interested in Calypso at all because we have seen it. We have seen that Calypso finals one night or the same night with another activity in Newtown. And we saw the activity in Newtown among persons in the ages of 16 to 25 had twice the crowd that Calypso Association had. Okay?
Okay.
So
I agree with you.
So the spending money.
That point.
Right.
That point. I agree with you.
Right.
With there.
Right.
Remember, I tell you about 500,000 likes. I told you about million likes, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now those likes not coming from Dominica. Dominica is only 70,000. So we're talking about likes in Guadeloupe and Martinique. We're talking about it. You know that, right?
And I'm saying to you, the Calypso now, because you're talking about Ridge.
Okay, let's go back to the Calypso. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm saying about Ridge in reference to Bouillon and
let's say African beat.
And that guy, Burna Boy.
Burna Boy, the African music.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you ask 100 people who they're going to come and see, to include that of Dominicans, right? 100 people.
No, let's talk about Dominicans only right now because.
Oh, you want
okay.
that category.
You know why I tell you to talk about Dominicans in that regard? Because okay, you know what? When Burna Boy was playing in where was Barbados?
Yes.
Much people didn't come from a way to see Burna Boy in Barbados. Let's be very clear about that. There's a lot of numbers people that spring around. Much people did not leave other islands and come down. But you would agree with me that it doesn't matter whether it's Martinique or Guadeloupe, we have always gotten people from these two countries.
But listen to
whether it's our Kadas or whether it's even the underground booyah that's happening. Right?
Listen to the difference, caller. Listen to the difference. Let me just tell you the difference. The people who are coming to Dominica, right? The people who are coming to Dominica, they're not only coming for Burna Boy night. So Burna Boy is not going to be the only person for the night. They are going to be right. So here goes my point. My point is that you will have a greater concentration of people, and that's what I was trying to make you with the survey. That if you ask 100 Dominicans who are going to go to the show, all right, are they going to the show to listen to the Calypsonians in Dominica? You tell me Dominicans, or they're going to the show to listen to Calypso?
Okay,
I'm telling you, 100% will tell you that they're going to listen to Burna Boy.
Oh no, you cannot say 100. Okay,
my
let's
brother.
put it to you, sir. You have a Creole festival, right? And in the Creole festival, you have various types of music, right? Now, I'm going to give you a simple example. The reason why reggae is still on the festival, which I don't like, but this year we have 5 artists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have a large population of people want to see reggae or like reggae. Am I correct?
No, a number of people have heard big songs from big artists that are singing reggae and want to actually be part and parcel of enjoying the festival with these people.
No, you put it in a different way, but that's okay.
No.
You put it in a different way, but it's okay.
No.
Because we have to think of, if it's a festival, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is my major problem with the festival and the organizers.
Mm-hmm.
There are certain people who would bring a certain amount of people with them when they move, when they travel.
Mm-hmm.
So, for example, if Kalash comes from wherever he comes from the Martin or Guadeloupe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Kalash going to travel with his crowd, and he's going to pay for himself. Am I correct?
He's going to pay for himself?
Yes,
oh, you mean the gate receipt is going to pay for himself?
No, his guests, in other words, the people that follow him from Martinique and Guadeloupe,
Uh-huh.
just like Admiralty,
Mm-hmm.
they will pay for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Am I correct in saying that?
You are correct to say that to a certain extent. For instance, Admiralty. We know that Admiralty has been involved in this business for a long time. So you're not hearing the name of Admiralty like you would have heard it 4 years ago. Yes? But you're hearing presently of Burna Boy so much more than that of Admiralty.
No, I'm not saying no.
All right.
By the way,
So at the end of the day,
Burna Boy is might be the hottest artist in the world, you know. Don't get me wrong.
he is.
But that is not the point I'm making.
Okay, what's the point?
No, and stick to Calypso.
is
I want, as a school teacher, wait.
Kalash,
Hello. As a school teacher, I want to stick you to the point that you were making in terms of Calypso and the lyrics of the Calypso. That's where you was challenging Cecil on that matter. But I don't want you to divert it too far. So come back to that. Yeah, go back for me, please.
let me come back there. The point I'm making is that different people, whether it's reggae, and by the way, again, reggae have too many artists on the festival. But reggae going to bring a certain amount of people. People like Admiralty, Kalash going to bring a certain amount of people, and probably more people than Burna Boy. Let us be clear about that. And I'm telling you right now, Calypso going to bring a certain amount of people because of the mature crowd. Now, I agree with you that if you have to compare Region them having a show, Suki and them and whatever having a show versus Calypso, they might interfere with the get receipt of Calypso. Don't get me wrong. But they're going to bring a certain amount of people. And this certain amount of people they're going to bring going to need what we call, they will do their certain songs too. Am I correct in saying that?
I'm trying to follow you. I'm not following you at all. You're losing me.
You're losing me, but I see where you're drifting. Let's call it.
You see, I'm looking at the point that you're making earlier on in reference to the Calypso. When you called, you're trying to make a beat for Calypso. And you're trying to say to me that it doesn't matter the lyrics of the Calypso, they should be on. That's what you're saying.
That's the point you're making.
I'm telling you, when you start as an organizer, as a promoter, start telling the artists what to sing, and you're not listening to whether or not the public wants to hear the artist.
My brother, which public? Tell me, you're getting me vexed now. You're getting me vexed now, my brother. My brother, you're getting me vexed.
So,
Calypso, I love Calypso more than you know. Brother, I love Calypso. Huh? I'd have to do no survey. I'd have to do no survey about that. My brother, I want to be upfront with you. I love Calypso more than you. There is no way that you can love Calypso like I love Calypso. I do more research on Calypso than you would ever do. And I'm saying to you, so, it is not...
The question.
What's the question you're giving me? What's the question?
The question is, do you have a figure of how many people you think that will come in the park for Calypso?
Do you have a figure? Do you have a figure?
No, I'm asking you, do you have a figure?
I don't have a figure, but I live in a real world. What is your figure? Out of 100, how many people are going to go to the park to listen to Calypso with certain lyrics? Huh?
On the night the Calypso dance play.
Yes, on the night the Calypso dance playing, yeah. Whatever night it is.
You want me to give you a figure, let's say out of 10?
Yes, out of 10.
Yeah, give us a rough estimate. Give us an estimate.
If I tell you at least 1 out of 10 people, you think that's too much?
No, 1 out of 10 that's not too much.
10%.
Okay, no more. But remember, 1 out of 10 is like what? How much percent is that?
10%. 10%. So and the other 90%, the other 90% are responsible for the gate.
Yes.
The other 90 are responsible
For
to make the DFC
make money.
pay these people are making money. The other 90% will be the ones fooling. Hold on, caller. Hold on. The other 90% will be the one that will be putting the hotels up to the brim. The other 90% will be the one responsible for helping the vendors. Not the 10%. Not the 10%. Be real. Not the 10%.
No. But Cecil, this is promotion, you know.
What?
Okay, look.
If I give you all your chance to talk.
You understand promotion?
I understand promotion, my brother. I love promotion.
Well, I don't even want to. I don't even want to say it's promotion.
Right? Where artist is concerned, 10% of the gate receipts is a lot.
My brother, what? 10% of the gate receipt might be 10% of the Dominican public. Tell me who in Martinique that is going to come to Dominica or Guadeloupe.
10% of the Dominican public. So you're telling me,
I am saying to you,
I'm coming from Canada. Let's say I come from Canada, and you have a whole bunch of people coming from Canada.
Mm-hmm.
Then you have people coming from New York, London, and whatever, and let's say St. Thomas, all them places there. You saying 10% might be 10% of the
I am saying to you, I'm going to use you say you're going to come out in Canada. All right? You would maybe come down to Dominica for Carnival, you would see Dice. I'm using Dice as our best because he's our best. You would have seen Dice. Okay?
Yes, I've seen Dice, yeah.
But that you would say later on, if they give Dice 2 songs to sing, you might say, why didn't they make Dice sing for an hour? But they are
Who's that, me?
I'm just saying.
No, I would not say that.
Okay, you would not say that.
By the way, Dice is not my favorite Calypso.
Okay,
but nevertheless,
he might not be your favorite Calypso, but he's the best that we have at this time. He's the best that we have at this time. Take it or leave it. Yeah. He's the best that we have at this time. We cannot say that. We cannot take it away from him. Okay?
Well, of course not.
Right. Now, I'm saying to you that in reference to the theme of this year's and any other independent period, I am not of the view that during the independence celebration, where we are inviting people to our shores, to our home, that we are going to take our dirty leanings, if they are dirty, all right, and to tell people, oh, Scary this, oh, Lennox this, oh, the Dominican people, we don't know how foolish they be. That's what you want me to talk in Calypso? No. So that is why I'm saying to you, I want to know what song you're singing. If you can't tell me what song you're singing, I don't invite you.
Originally, when I started, I told you, I understand a little bit of what you're saying, But that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that you have to look at the thing in its entirety.
What is the entirety?
You have 3 days of shows, and if you take the Calypsonians and then you take, let's say, half of the Calypsonians are going to sing, and you find a percentage of how much music that is like that compared to everything else. You think that's going to stain the entire...
Let me give you an example. Let me give you an example. It is not the first time we have seen Calypsonians on the stage for the World Music Festival. All right? And we have seen what happened in terms of the crowd and their movements when the Calypsonians are singing. We know that. Let us not be hypocrites. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
You have to dance to Calypso. You can just sit there and listen, right?
My brother. And that is what the Creole Festival is about, is to entertain you.
Mm-hmm. No,
all right?
You can entertain me by listening.
My caller, let the brain now come at you. You are you're playing smart. You're trying to fool the brain. You're trying to come and fool Cecil. You're trying now to make a case for particular individuals. You have your bias, but you're playing gumbo lala. You're trying to trap us, but you're not going to trap us this evening. Don't try your googly. Don't try your googly on us.
And I understand what is going on. You know my only problem with the Calypso when they present the show at the Creole Festival.
Go ahead, we're listening.
Plan it properly and make it into a show. That's my only problem with them.
Thank you very much, and you answer the question for me. Have a good evening. Have a good evening. We could go on for the whole night, but we have a limited time.
I guess we're gonna have to agree to disagree.
We have to agree to disagree.
I just know you're wrong.
Have a good evening, my brother.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Bye.
Boy, this fella's not easy.
Boy, when you go to church, right?
Yes.
The church telling you what song to sing,
Yes.
When you're going to do burials, the church telling you they want to see your program. You know?
Yes, yes. But I am of the view that, and the caller can hear me, that he who pays the piper calls the tune. You cannot expecting me to. You can't expect me to be paying you big money and you coming and slam me. I paying big money and on that day you slamming me before the whole world.
The caller knows better than that.
He knows better, you know.
And he rap himself.
He rap himself.
Yeah.
No man, you cannot come and slam me.
Caller, I mean,
come on, let's be real. You'll slam me at your time.
I would like to. I would like you to be organizing something, and I want to know who you are, and I gotta write a song about you and tell me to come and sing it now.
And pay me.
And pay me. I'm gonna charge you big money until you pay me. Pay me.
But this fella's not
my
easy,
brother. I mean,
let's be real, man.
I am sorry, but my opinion stands with me.
Well, you have your point of view.
My point is, I will not invite you if your song going to be
Don't
against me.
Don't invite the man to supper, man.
You tell me your song against me.
And you didn't supper by me.
I mean, your song can be against me. I don't have a problem.
Yeah.
But you must have your place.
You have your place. I am not. My point is that I'm not going to make you eat my supper and you slamming me while
never
supper.
No. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening. Good evening to the panel.
Yeah.
Yes.
In terms of the calypso, my issue I have, that festival, I disagree with you a little bit, is most Dominicans, I would say 90% of Dominicans know these songs the Calypsonians singing, right?
That's correct.
That's correct.
Right. Two things the calypso, in terms of the political calypso, is either they sing against the government or they sing against the opposition. Now, my point is, if you decide you don't want Calypsonians because you know they're singing against the government or against Rosa Skerrit or against Lennox, I understand. But in terms of inviting them and you want to know what songs they're singing, there's rather issue because most people know what songs they're singing.
Well, I will choose I will choose who I want to sing then. I will choose who I want to sing. I'm not going against Calypsonian singing. You know, I am for Calypsonian singing.
But you choose your.
You
pick your team.
So that's my point. So either you don't have certain Calypsonian singing, but you cannot invite all.
No, but you see, there's an association.
No, you already know the lyrics.
No caller. There is no caller. There's an association. No, there's an association. If all respect to you,
yes,
there's an association, and I think it's greater respect for the DFC DDA
to choose
to speak with the Calypso Association. Let them decide who are the people that they're going to have. It shouldn't be a situation where the DDA choosing who they wish for people to say, you see, let the Dominica Calypso Association do it, but you must give them parameters. That's all I'm saying.
That's all, yes.
Yeah, but that's still, because what I'm saying is either you can invite them or you don't invite them, but you can invite them and want to know what lyrics, which you already know the songs they already sing.
Well, I can invite the Calypso Association and tell them who I want them. And I do not want to do that. So I do not want to do that.
A controversy.
No, but that is the point. I do not want that controversy.
We don't want controversy.
So I'm saying for not having that controversy, I will tell you, sir, I want 10 Calypsonians for the night.
Yes.
But you know what? Their lyrics has to be clean. Their lyrics has to be...
Yeah, but the lyrics is not dirty. The lyrics you're singing is just political songs. They're not dirty songs. They're just political songs.
Well, no political songs on that night.
They're not dirty.
Well, let me make it clear. I don't know whether it says on that night.
It's social commentary.
No
politics.
No
politics. No politics.
That have no impact on
No politics.
No. It's not about
no
the
politics.
It's not about the impact. It's not about the impact. We are talking about a period in our history.
Independence.
And it is an independent period where we as a people, as a country, supposed to celebrate. We are not here to celebrate our differences. We are here to celebrate our success as a country.
Yes.
And when we are there to do that, we are saying that we want everything Dominica. That's what I'm saying.
Okay,
we want everything Dominica.
Okay,
and I'm saying to you, Roosevelt Skerrit is not Dominica. Lennox Linton is not Dominica. And I'm saying that I am saying to you that I want songs that will uplift Dominica. So
Okay, so
I might
you're
go for
trying to- so
file.
you're saying no.
I can go for file. Huh?
So back in the days when it used to have independent calypso, right? So what you're trying to say, it should be something like that, where the calypsonian writing songs.
That's
for
correct.
Dominica. For
That's
Dom-
correct.
That's correct.
That's correct.
For Dominica.
That's
okay.
correct.
All right, that's the point.
That's the
correct.
point.
That's the
Not
point.
if, not-
That's the
that
point.
is the point.
That's the point. That
So
is
they
the
should have
selling
known.
point.
They should have told them that before long.
They know
before, so
that.
they could have new material.
They know that.
But
You-
you cannot
they
tell.
cannot
Hold on, hold on.
to
You cannot
invite
tell
them
me.
and then
You cannot
send
tell
to them.
me. You cannot tell me that I invite you to my church. Okay? I know you're a good singer.
Yeah, he's a churchman.
I know you're a good
He's
teacher.
a churchman. He's a churchman.
And I said to you, I want you to come and sing a song.
And you sing it.
You come in and sing a song about Roosevelt in the church.
In the church, boy,
You find that making sense?
We put you outside, man.
You find that
We
making
put
sense?
you outside, boy. You're mad, man.
Well, church and
No,
No,
but
man.
But the same thing I'm telling you.
Don't try to
It
confuse
is
us.
same thing. whether it's church or the public, we are talking about an event.
Don't confuse us.
All right, it's an event.
Don't confuse us.
And I'm saying your event is Calypso. Can you imagine? Can you imagine on Calypso finals? I invite Stefan Ravo to come and sing as a guest artist to come and sing Zouk. Huh?
But it's a calypso night, Cecil.
We have seen.
Well,
Don't beg for me.
Don't beg you know very well what you're trying to push. That is the time for Dominica to celebrate its successes.
Listen, I understand what Cecil is saying, but my point about it is that it's either you don't invite them, but inviting them and want to censor their lyrics.
No, it's not
because
censor.
You already know what song they sing.
So, hold on. Hold on. I'm getting
against the government or against the.
I'm getting married. Let's forget marriage. I am inviting you to a function, a very important function, and I say to you that you have to dress casual. You come in with your short pants, your slippers, and sleeveless. My brother heard the police will put you outside.
Put you outside, man. He knows very well that on that time, they know, the Calypsonians know that is a time that has always been a time to celebrate Dominica's successes.
Right.
It's an independence celebration, and on that during that time is to highlight the progress united. It's not division. So don't bring us in that direction. We are not going there with you.
Go ahead.
We are not going there with you.
No. I was just saying. My understanding is when they asked to see their lyrics, they decline, and that's why they wasn't invited.
No.
So that means right. That's what I
It's
understood.
independence time for independent thinking in terms of development. Have a good evening, caller.
Thank you.
All right. Then.
Yeah. But let me tell you, for Carnival, you can give me from December, the last week in December. That's how they normally
can
start.
go ahead.
You can give me all my fire.
To blow gas.
You can blow your gas on me. It's season,
but not
season to give me my fire.
Not
give me my fire.
independence,
Not
no.
independence.
No blow gas on me. Man.
Not me. No. In the name of democracy.
And you want to catch my house on
in
fire.
the name of democracy, when more people
are on the island.
No. When more people are on the other side of democracy, you want to tell me that the minority want to talk about their democracy.
Don't let fellas blow gas on you during independence.
Good evening.
Hey, good evening, Cecil and Mr. Bray.
Man, good evening.
I really had to call it. Yes, I agree with you, though, Cecil. I mean, you can't come and sing Time of Independence and have to do with our culture, maybe a Christmas song.
We know we'll put you outside. We'll put you outside.
Yes, it's season. You sing according, it's a seasonal thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's culture. You come and sing. You see, like with some Calypsonian, they're smart. Or musician, they make music to go with the type of season. Like Rich, that's how we get popular when he make the little mazouk and the little jing-ping
He understood that.
Right, he's from Abakwa,
and he come and he sing a song for Carnival, make his Carnival song big.
Right, because he give the people what they want.
That's the point.
At this season, when I used to go to Samat, you have to buy clothes. I buy December time is church clothes. Carnival time is short pants, and Easter time is BAFTA wheel and short pants and bath suit, and summertime for children is school bag, and that's how you go.
For the season, yeah.
Yeah, for the season. What is the season now? And I heard the guy talk about inferiority. Or we said that. I agree with him, you know. Because most of our young people now, they're not thinking of developing the country like they have a war with the country they want to go. It's not the country, not, you understand me? Have to start thinking broad, love our country. That's why we have that culture day. That we can bring back certain things to them. And Cecil, again, I agree with you when you talk about Kentucky, KFC. you tell them that in advance, fry cocoy, fry plantain, instead of the chicken, or if it's chicken, it's local chicken or steamed fish. You tell them that at that time. You understand that no fat. That's how we're going to control our people, you know, because our people...
You're making the point, you know, Marlene. I like that point, you know, and I maintain that. I mean, yes, we live in an independent and democratic country, but give me a chance. I telling all the fast food people what to cook, you know. We can try that. Who said we cannot try that?
But I mean, come on, it's potato. Instead of you use potato, you use breadfruit. Because breadfruit can make a salad just like Irish potato. You understand? So you look for the fried dashing. The children, they will enjoy it.
They'll eat it.
Yeah, they will eat it instead of the chips or you use coconut oil or you use something that is local. And that is what that should happen that day. You don't import anything other. That's our time. And I think, hey, you tell them that in advance. They're gonna make much more money because nobody's not going to go there, and then they're hungry and not buying.
And not only that, the foreigners, the persons who are coming in, would like to have a taste of your local cuisine.
Yes,
not the macro, the local cuisine. What do you have locally?
Let me tell Kalnas, if you take my idea, you have to pay me for it.
No, you see, it's true. Because when the tourists come, they don't want to get the same thing they eat in America. They want to get our product. And that is what should happen. And we should have a mall in Dominica that when you come in there, you get everything local. Everything
but also too, we should send a message. We should send a message to our local restaurant owners that they should try at least in October. Let's get a little bit more Creole for our foods.
More Creole, more local.
Let's get more Creole for our foods.
And not only that, you're helping agriculture. You're helping the farmers.
You're helping our produce. We're helping. Yeah, it's true. I think, and they should, we use only cane juice or honey, and we bring back those things, but we don't want high prices, that we cannot afford.
And not only that, it will be good for the health because for instance, doctors have been saying the kind of things we are eating now is getting hypertensive and diabetic. So if we have a time to exercise using our local things, we should begin our local bush tea. We should use it during that time.
Yeah, we should do that because that is how we're going to get our children to get familiar with our local food because a lot of them are pressure. I don't tell them, look at me, I don't have. At least if I have it tomorrow, it's what you eat and how you think of your health. You understand? Macaroni and cheese. I'm watching the young people and them, they're not eating a proper meal. It's a macaroni and cheese, a mayonnaise.
I tell you, hear me, Marlene, I said that earlier on. Si moi t'es Prime Minister Jordi même, moi t'es mettez en loi tous les mois octobre. Ou pas acheter pièces chicken de Dominique. So tout chicken c'est Dominique. Manger poule Dominique.
Mais tellement bien Marlene, moi te dit ba moi en chance pour moi manger ça moi ka produit Dominique. Ba moi chance. Tout le temps l'Amérique, ban Dominique en chasse.
Moi ça mon qui fâché avec moi. Moi ça mon qui fâché avec moi parce que ça m'a commandé moun pour moi octobre
novembre.
Ma octobre. Pour 3 novembre à nous manger tout ça nous a produit. À nous boire tout ça nous a fait. Nous ça fait J Dachine, nous avons fait J, soursop, jamou, plantain, breadfruit, banane, tout bagaille.
You the breadfruit tellement bon.
Moi ça dit ça.
En fait, c'est pas tous les années même si 11 jours en dans semaine là, quand
non pas un jour. Mon pas pareil 11 jours.
Octobre.
Mois octobre avec 6 mois c'est gouvernement, mon radio 6 mois c'est gouvernement tous les jours mon radio qui boit ou ne pour boire.
Fontanelle.
Oui.
Mon radio parce que laissez étranger la venir. Gars ça ou ça. Regardez ces Dominica bien les retourner. Do you have any catfish and smoked herring?
Oh yes, and
do you have orange juice? Can I get some sauce?
Yes.
C'est ça dit oui.
Pani.
But Cécile, si vous demandez pour un pépé voter vers Caïs, allez, vous pouvez taper.
Vous pouvez taper, oui, parce que moi vois Ozo là, bon tobacco facture là, bon bac là, tous les jours moi voir un bouc là, moi passe oh là monsieur taper pépé. Tous les jours monsieur ni pépé là bien rôti.
Bien rôti oui.
Bien rôti mon dieu. So il a.
Bon, parce que c'est un méchant ça, nous Dominique qui a fait, il y en a les petits manger, nous Dominique tellement cher. Il veut vendre un pain au monde, $5, on va pas pain là en gré, on pied pain qui va au
non, on va regarder comme ça. Mais il y pour tuer pépé. Laver pépé. Mener oiseau, on pour payer au voiture pour mener oiseau. OK? On pour rester temps, on pour manger, on pour boire. $5, pas fâché avec ce monde ça, man. Pas fâché avec.
Mais moi,
non, attendez, non,
tout le monde.
Regardez ça. Ou Caïozo avait presque 200 pimpins. Là, on fait même $200.
Non, et même, mais on peut payer transport pour eux.
Là, on peut payer transport là, c'est $4. Ça, on fait $100. Pas qu'à gagner rien.
Bah, moi, dis ça. Bah, moi, dis ça, Marlene. Mon averti ou c'est un monde d'habitation. Tout le monde habitation.
Moi,
mais habitation, ils savent pas. Tout le monde habitation.
Moi, ça vous est mon Penville.
Tout le monde habitation. Depuis qu'il est stop ni pépin à la cause.
Moi, nous n'avons pas pépin à
la cause.
Non, mais Cécile, comment dire ça? Laissez-toi nous pour garder à Donjon parce que, laissez-toi, c'est mon là, si vous prenez $5 pour que manger un pépin, quoi, dis-moi ça?
Non, c'est pas ça, mon radio.
Entièrement, t'es qu'à lever, Cécile. Eh ben, papa, moi, eh ben, pour, il dit, il te qu'à ni bon moun manger.
Ça, c'est très longtemps.
Eh ben, là, il te qu'à fait pli manger.
C'est pas fait d'accord.
Là, on va bon moun, on pas qu'à dire, aïe, bon moun, tout ça. Mais on va faire, parce que là, on va mettre cher, on est pour jeter.
Non, là, ni moun jik à style ba moun pépé, hein.
Oui,
Really
cap fit.
Let them
wear it. They will wear it. I'm not referring to everybody.
Ça, c'est pour vous, then. Vous voyez ça pour vous?
Non, pas pour moi. C'est plaisir pour moi, mon pas de figue. C'est plaisir pour dire mon mi. Mais à quand mon a dans mon cas de $5 pour un pépé, $5 pour un pas de figue. À quand garder, c'est là, voyez, c'est la place là que c'est peut-être là qui est bon pour garder mon Dominique pas, nous a bien dit, manger. Est-ce que yo ça manger? Est-ce que yo ça fort?
Mais, bah, où ça, Marlene, avant mon quitter, ça c'est la tradition, nous. Les où tu tues un cochon, on l'autre monde tue un bœuf. So que bayon et l'autre, même si c'est un livre. Mais zo gâté.
Qui j'en gâté?
Zo gâté, ces jeunes moun n'a pas connaître ça. Pour tu qu'on fait ça?
Qui j'en pas connaître?
Ou stop ba moun, les où tu un cochon, tu es kabouit. Ou kabayon.
Non,
you're sharing what have you have. You know that Cecil is true?
No, it's true, and our people don't even love animal anyway too. Because if you have an animal sometime and it accidentally go to their place or it's accident, you can couper cool, you can play hache. Cause you see those kind of love. Before people had more love for animal, but it's my pleasure if I have a cow to kill it in the area and reduce the price. And who cannot buy, give them a pound. Because sometimes it eat the grass around, but it doesn't exist in our people. You play kakai, but you probably play.
Marlene, have a good evening. We are running out of time.
Good night. Yeah, bye-bye.
Thank you. All right. Well, we're coming down to the end. I just want to tell people that we have an independent calendar of activities on the 30th of September. That's Friday. We have Festival Duivet at the Promenade, La Promenade. You know where the La Promenade is?
Not by the riverside.
You asking me a question or you telling
I'm
me?
just asking.
Come closer to the mic, I cannot hear you.
Yeah, I'm saying it's the promenade, as far as I know, is by the river, Rosa River.
Sedative conviction.
Yeah, man, by Rosa River,
Right.
man.
So the 30th of September, we have the Festival Duvet at the promenade. Then we have on Saturday, the 1st, and the Sunday, the 2nd of October, will be National Day of Prayer and Thanksgiving. So if you're an Adventist, you have your Thanksgiving and your National Day of Prayer on the Saturday. And if you are the Protestants that do not worship on a Saturday, your own is on the Sunday. Sunday the 2nd of October, we have District Festival, East and the Southeast. It will be in the Monjon Primary School at 4 p.m. So Sunday the 2nd of October, District Festival, East and Southeast in the Monjon Primary School. Monday 3rd to the 7th of October, it is History Week.
That's good.
Herbal tradition.
Ah, that's nice. I like
island
that
wide.
one.
I like that one. Herbal. Let's take the telephone. Someone's on the telephone after we'll come back to this. Good evening to you, caller.
Yeah, thank you for taking my late call. I always like to give everyone a chance to say what they have to say.
But we're doing that.
I'm just suggesting, based on the need for calypso during the Creole Festival, I think my suggestion to the Calypso Association is to organize a calypso competition during the festivity or the independence celebration, and all competitors in the competition should sing on a theme song titled Anything About Dominica. That they should do, because that's what used to happen in the past, and that's what they should continue to do if they want to have their own Calypso independence competition. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think I want to compliment that caller.
Compliment him.
Brilliant idea.
Right.
We did it in the past. We can still do it again. Have a calypso around a theme, and
we had it during the independence.
Yeah,
so they had a calypso.
So that's a good way.
That's a good way.
That's a good way to solve that problem.
That's a good way.
Yeah, that's a good way. So we are saying Monday the 3rd to the 7th of October, we have a History Week, and they'll be dealing with herbal traditions. So we should be listening to the radio. I would like to find out from the acting chief cultural officer what is the format of this thing, because I would like DBS to be on board with this.
That would be nice. You should
it should be a very nice thing. Wednesday, October 5th, there is going to be an E.O. Libla lecture, also on herbal traditions. It will be at the UE Open Campus. Starts at 7. Then you have 7, 14, and 21 of October. And that is the Friday, island-wide. Had Creole every Friday. Had Creole. So,
nice.
They said the 7th of October, when Mom come and say someone Friday coming. What's the date of Friday coming?
Monfend, man, you'll have money.
Yes, I put in my own Friday coming.
Of course, you can
So
start.
Mom can come and say Friday coming.
Friday.
I start in a week in advance.
Okay.
So I just want to say 7th, 14th, and 21st of October, because October is the month of Creole, really.
Yes, really.
Had Creole. It is done, as I said, every Friday. Friday the 7th, they also have another fete or festival Duvet at the La Promenade. So the second edition of the Festival Duvet at the La Promenade. Saturday, 8th October, District Festival. This one is the West and Southwest at the Newton Primary School. And the Sunday, 9th October, District Festival again at the North and Northeast. This one is at the Roosevelt Douglas Primary School. Starts at 4. Then you have Monday 10 to Friday 14. You have National Emblems Week. So we will know about all of our various emblems. So that's from the 10th to the 14th. So I think the 10th might be Flag Day. I want us to remember that Flag Day as a big day. I think I am going to get DBS to do a promo. I'll talk to the program director tomorrow so that we can really start doing some serious promotion for Flag Day. So I just want to say to the vendors out there, start putting your flag so people can purchase your flag. Not because it's flag, don't sell it at any big money, and make sure they are authentic. November, as I said, Monday the 10th, it will be Flag Day island-wide. Friday the 14th, again Hat Creole, Journée Chapeau Pie. So on the 14th is Journée Chapeau Pie. For those persons who do not understand, it is the day to wear your
straw hat.
On the 14th. And Saturday the 15th, International Day of Rural Women. Island-wide, International Day of Rural Women. That's island-wide on the 15th of October. Then we have the 15th of October again. That is Market Day with a difference. That's going to be in Portsmouth. So Saturday 15th, Market Day for difference at Portsmouth. It starts at 8 o'clock in the morning. And then Saturday 15th again, the District Festival in the South. And this time it will be at the Pierre Charles Secondary School from 4 p.m. And Sunday the 16th of October is World Food Day. And on that day, in reference to the World Food Day, we should force. Is force a good word?
No, we should encourage.
We should encourage as a better word. We should encourage Dominicans to eat everything local. Yeah, we should encourage everybody to eat something local or things local. Thursday the 20th of October, Madame Wobduet pageant at the Old Mill Cultural Center at 8 o'clock. So Thursday 20th October, Madame Wobduet pageant at the Old Mill. Friday 21st, you have Hat Creole again. Journée Panier, Panier. That's Panier.
Journée Panier.
Journée Panier. That's baskets. Yeah. So that the Caribs, Kalinago, should be getting themselves ready to have the Panier to be sold for that day. The Saturday the 22nd, Market Day for Difference in Marigot. So Saturday 20th, Saturday 22nd October, Market Day for Difference in Marigot. Saturday 22nd, Market Day for Difference in Maho. So both of them will be having the Market Day for Difference. I should say 3 of them. So you have Maho, you have Marigot, and you have La Plaine. On Saturday 22nd, Market Day for Difference. They say they're going to La Plaine. On the 23rd, National Heritage Day. That is Sunday the 23rd, National Heritage Day in Trafalgar. Church service at 10 a.m. An exhibition at 12. Cultural gala at 3. That is the 23rd of October, National Heritage Day in Trafalgar. 24th, T Village Creole. So the 24th to the 27th. Monday the 24th to the Thursday 27th, T Village Creole at the Botanical Gardens from 12. And then you have the 26th of October, National Miss Wobduet pageant at the Old Mill. So Wednesday 26th, National Miss Wobduet at 8 p.m. at the Cultural Gala. And Friday 28th October, Journée Creole. Wow, that is going to be the splendid day. That's going to be the massive day. We are going to have parades. We are going to have people at school doing their pieces at schools. You have people going to work with their duet and with their national wear.
Everything.
Yeah.
All the traditional ways.
On that day, Journée Creole on the 28th. And the 28th again, National Creole Dress Parade. So while this is Journée Creole, as I said, they're going to be having a National Creole Dress Parade at Roseau, at 10 a.m. And you have the Friday, the 28th again, you have the Dollar Day. You know, everybody should bring their dollar to contribute to the, I think it's towards education. Then the 28th to the 30th, Friday to the Sunday of October, World Creole Music Festival at the Winter Park Sports Stadium. Wednesday 2nd, National Youth Rally. So Wednesday the 2nd, National Youth Rally at the Windsor Park. And Thursday 3rd, National Day.
The military parade.
That's a big day.
Yes.
That's when the Honorable Prime Minister will be giving his national address.
Yes.
And the military parade at that same time. So it's a big deal that many people are actually looking out for. Every year we have seen the Windsor Park full in its numbers. The past 2 years there was none, but this year we are thankful that we can be able to do it.
Celebrate it.
And also on the 3rd, in the evening from 7:30, we have the National Cultural Gala, and the 4th of November will be National Day of Community Service, National Tree Planting Day, Street Jump Up. So National Day of Community Service, and I think this year
are they having a street jump up?
Some of us have
so that is just a prelude to Carnival then.
A prelude to Carnival.
Because once you have jump up, on the 4th,
no, it's not a prelude to Carnival.
It means that Carnival will take place.
It's a conclusion of
Carnival.
the independence celebration.
Okay, but I'm saying from my own perspective, if you can have that, maybe next year, next year 2024, 2023. We may look forward to a carnival.
Carnival for what?
No, I'm saying that's outside of the independence. I'm just thinking ahead of you.
No, I'm not saying they already have street jump up. So street jump up climaxing our independence. Our independence. But on as Friday. And the Saturday, you will be having, Saturday 5th, you'll be having Miss OECS pageant. Wow.
In Dominica.
In Dominica.
Wow.
So I hope we can see St. Lucia, St. Vincent,
Grenada,
Dominica, Antigua, St. Kitts.
Montserrat. You bring in Montserrat?
Well, we can bring Montserrat. We can bring Anguilla.
Anguilla, yeah.
Let's
see what happens.
Let's see what happens, and let's see how many countries are going to be present. So that's the
it's a packed program, man.
Calendar of activity every day.
It's packed, man.
From yesterday, we saw a real splendid celebration,
right?
With entertainment and speeches. We heard from the mayor of Roseau spoke. We also heard Ulson Matthew, the chief cultural officer, acting. We heard the feature address by the Honorable Rosalind Paul, Minister of Sports, Culture and Community Development. Wow, that was a long night.
That was a long night. Well, Cecil, let me say that I enjoyed the program on culture. I must say that it went on well. Quite enough of interaction with the public. And so
I think
it was a good one.
Next week I want to also continue the culture.
Since we're in the period.
Well, it's not necessarily the traditional culture, things that we are accustomed to doing. So, for instance, next week I want us to look at, you remember Foot Boys? Foot Boys.
Yes, man.
You remember these people?
On trucks. Yes, man.
And you remember what you call it, those on the bus?
Oh, the conductors.
Conductors.
Yeah.
So next week we can look at some of the traditional things that we used to do.
Yes. Transportation
wise, and maybe a few other things.
We could look at transportation and other things that come.
Yeah.
That would be very interesting.
So we need to remind
and we look
people.
at the vehicles that we used to have as well.
Yeah, so we
modality of transport.
Yeah, so we see the Lakou is actually growing.
Yes.
So next week we will do our best to ensure that we can sensitize people of the things of the past, you know. So it was a nice night. So
let me say good evening to all Dominicans. To Rose, I know she's listening. If I didn't say good night, you know how difficult it would be even for me to enter the house. So good evening, Rose.
I want to say good evening to Marlita Bowers and to Renick Thomas. And to all my friends, Rosalind Savrin, always tuned to DBS Radio, Glenda Ashby, Snapper, good evening to you, and Minard and Derek and David. You know, all the people that are actually tuned to the Nation station. I just want to say also good evening to my entire family in Bridgeport.
I forgot a few people, so I should
and
say...
my brother Reginald at the State Prison. I just want to say good evening to you too.
Let me say good evening to Lindell and Mums out there in Massac, and also to Seams, and also to the Morancis out there in Trafalgar, and also to the Miss Charles and Shani out there in the Valley area. So good evening to the rest of Dominica.
I also want to say good evening to my neighbors in Beaubois. Very special people to me. You know, I have a very nice neighborhood. I couldn't ask for a better one than I now have, you know. Very nice neighborhood. We look out for each other. We go on our merry way. We go on to our own business, but we still look out for each other.
That's very good.
And that is a very beautiful community that we are now seeing developing. So I don't want to call names and miss out anybody, but I want to say to every neighbor of mine, let's continue having a beautiful week. And I think we need to speak in reference to Community Day of Service. We have to plant a tree.
Yeah,
All right, my neighbors, we have to plant a tree. So let's start cutting soon so we can plant a tree.
Good evening, Cecil.
Good evening to you. All right.
La Jinping. People come well just for the cultural gala, yes. Thank to show our cultural heritage as we face one another era of culture, yes. We could demonstrate